Good evening. Live chat 79 here on Brooksy's Bass Corner, coming to you all the way from London town. Here in the UK, it's Tuesday evening, 8 o'clock. Hope you're safe and well. Hope your bass playing's going great. Hope you've had a great week since last week's live chat. Hope everything is just great, you know. That's all I can do. Wish you the best. Hope everything's working out for you. So here we are, live chat 79. We're talking bass guitars, we're talking bass amps, effects, accessories, gig bag, strings, leads, how to build pedal boards, how to fix basses, fix amps, and fix pedals. And if you've got any bass related questions you'd like to fire away, maybe looking for some advice, maybe you're looking to buy a new bass, some new equipment, maybe you've bought some, maybe you're a newbie to bass playing, looking for some sort of pointers in how to get better, how to improve your playing, all of that sort of thing. That's what we're here for. If I can help you, I'm more than happy to do so. It's what I'm here for each week. But if I don't know the answer to a question you're asking, I'll open it up to the floor, to the fine people that we have here on Brooksy's Bass Corner live chats. So if you're new to the whole live chat concept and thinking, how does this work? So basically, I'm Mike Brooks. It's my YouTube channel, Brooksy's Bass Corner. What can I tell you? I've been playing for 37 years. I've got almost 30 years on the clock as a professional bass player. I've done nearly 4,500 gigs. Used to write for Bass Guitar Magazine and Bass Player. I did the writing for like 18 years. So I kind of know my way around a bass guitar. Although when some people hear me play, they might question that. But if I don't know the answer to helping you with a piece of advice or some information, we open it up onto the fine people here. Good evening, guys. I see you appearing. It's great to see you. So the live chat works. Basically, it's like a friendly community of bass players and people who've either enjoy music, enjoy bass playing, or people who want to become bass players, or people that used to be bass players. But anyway, we attract all sorts of waifs and strays here on Brooksy's Bass Corner. And you can fire questions at me. You can hold your own conversations within the chat window, of course. We now, because we're running on the StreamYard platform on YouTube, you guys can actually come live on air via camera, via video cam. So if you want to show me a problem with a bass or a pedal, or you want to have sort of an in-depth conversation about a piece of equipment or particular bass player or an album or anything related with bass playing, it doesn't just have to be confined to the chat window. You can actually do it live here. I can host, I think, up to 8 people, so me and 7 others. So if this becomes a very involved conversation, I can bring you all to screen and you can say your piece and get involved and hang around all evening if you wish, or you can drop in and out of the live chat as you see fit. So we're very easy going. Come and get involved. You got any questions about basses, bass guitars, effects, accessories, gear generally, or how to play bass? Maybe you're a beginner and you're thinking, how the hell do I get around this long, heavy instrument? It's not as daunting as it seems. I've managed to do it for 37 years. And if I can do it, believe me, you can as well. If I can offer up any little nuggets of information, advice, help, that's what I'm here for. If I can impart some knowledge, it's free for you to have. So that's what we do here on the live chat. So whether you're watching on a desktop, a laptop, mobile phone, tablet, what you're looking at, what I'm talking to you on, is the video window. Directly below, if you're on the mobile app, is the chat window where you put your responses and you can see the conversation. If you're on the desktop version, the chat window's that way. So put your cursor or insertion point in the text box at the bottom that says chat or comment, whatever it is, and type your message in, press send. It'll appear here in my chat window, and then we can talk about it. If you are, let me think, get my thread right would be good. So, so yeah, if you're on the mobile app, live chat windows directly below, desktop versions that way, laptop and tablet is that way as well, I think. So underneath the video window, you'll see a row of icons. There's a thumbs up and a thumbs down. If you're enjoying the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you don't enjoy the video and you're going to give it a thumbs down, then please leave a comment. Let me know what you're not enjoying, what doesn't work for you. Is it something on the video or the channel or my presentation? Maybe just you don't like the channel, but leave a comment and then I can reply to it and respond to it. I can only make things better if I know what people aren't enjoying. So you'll see a thumbs up, thumbs down. There's a share button. There's a save button. There's a love heart with a dollar symbol. That's called super thanks. Brooksy Space Corner is a monetized channel. You'll find super thanks facilities on every video here on the channel. Basically, it allows you to make a contribution to the channel financially if you wish to do so. You don't have to. The videos are free to watch. But if I offer up some advice or show you how to do something on the workshop videos or on one of the demos and you really enjoy it, you can leave a small financial contribution if you wish to do so, but you don't have to. Okay. And that's called super thanks. We have the super chat facility on the live chat, of course. So on the live chat column, the live chat window, the pane, next to the section where you put your comment or question in, you'll see an emoji icon. So feel free to give that an absolute hammering. It helps the video in the eyes of the YouTube algorithm. And also next to that, you'll see a rectangle with a dollar symbol in. That's called super chat. Works the same way as the super thanks option. The super thanks exists on every single video. Super chat is based on the live chats. Again, if you like something within this chat or you want to help the channel continue, helps to pay for all the subscriptions, StreamYard, vidIQ, all the gear, the cameras, the leads, the lights, all of this stuff that you see on the reviews, the demos, the workshop videos. It just helps. It helps to oil the wheels within the YouTube algorithm. So if you want to help the channel, help me, make sure more videos come your way, then use the super chat facility. And it doesn't have to be a huge amount. It can be a small amount, whatever you wish. It's up to you, entirely up to you. So you've got the video window, you've got the chat window, you've got the icons underneath the video pane. Underneath that, you've got the description box. In there, you'll find merchandise links. So Brooksy Space Corner merchandise. Again, if you want to help the channel, merchandise is fabulous. You get something for your donation, and there's all sorts of t-shirts, hats, hoodies, sweatshirts, mugs, mouse mats. We've got the mouse mat here, of course. I use one myself, of course. Be daft not to. We've got the caps, of course. Brooksy Space Corner branded merch. So that's all in the merchandise links. That's provided by Spreadshirt and Spreadshop. Underneath that, you'll find affiliate links for vidIQ, StreamYard, if you partake in live chats and video conferencing, what have you. There's also a link there for Top Cashback. So if you're based here in the UK, you buy a lot of stuff online, save yourself some money. Click on the link for Top Cashback. Open yourself up an account. By using the referral link in the description box, you'll get £10 of free cash into your account when you do your first purchase. So if you're buying insurance or mobile phones or a mobile phone tariff or your regular grocery shop, or you're shopping for clothes or stuff for the house or garden, or there's a million categories in there. I've saved, with Top Cashback, in 15 years, I've saved £9,000. In 21 years of using cashback sites, I've used some other ones before I moved over to Top Cashback, I've saved about £14,000. It's a lot of money. It's gone back into my pocket. So basically, you accrue that money within Top Cashback. You can then withdraw it as cash into your bank account, or you can accumulate some bonuses and cash out with gift cards and gift vouchers. I tend to use mine at Christmas with Amazon shopping for presents. I just transfer it over. I get a gift card code, put it into Amazon. Suddenly, there's loads of money in my account. So that's how Top Cashback works. So if you want to save some money on your shopping, and Lord knows everyone in the world at the moment needs to be saving a few pennies here and there, it's a great way to do it. So we've got the affiliate links for vidIQ, StreamYard, Top Cashback. You'll then find affiliate links also for the Base Center here in the UK. Hello to Barry, Jill, Dave, all the fabulous people at the Base Center. You'll find links there for Elite Strings, Base Center merchandise, 40th anniversary merchandise, no less, and links through to the bases and the various items. So amplifiers, pedals that they're carrying in stock. I think they're carrying Tech 21 Sons amps, some Phil Jones bass combos, amplifiers. And obviously all the basses that they do. So you've got the power bass, the jive bass, all the signature models from the British Bassmasters series. That's all there. You'll then also find affiliate links if you've got any bass related purchases coming up, maybe a new bass, pedal, amp, strings, accessories, gig bags. You'll find links for Amazon worldwide, Thomann in Germany, although they sell worldwide, of course, Gear for Music, and Andertons here in the UK. Again, Andertons will ship across the planet, wherever you are. If you want to buy something from Andertons and you find what you're looking for is cheaper there than on any of the other retailers, use that affiliate link and you'll help the channel. All those affiliate links are very small amounts. We don't get, when you buy something with the affiliate link, it's not the price that comes back to us. It's literally a little nugget, but all those little nuggets make bigger nuggets and they help the channel. So you've got the affiliate links. Then after that, in the description box, you've got the social media links. You'll find some Facebook, Instagram, Twitter X, Be Real, Discord, Reddit, Quora, and TikTok. And that's that. So let's see who we've got. West Fork, good evening. Good to see you. Visog, evening, my friend. How are you? Stacy from North Carolina. She's jumped in here. Good to see you. West Fork, I have a first question. First is always a good place to start, I find. What do you think about Jaydee basses? Got one over there. And have I ever tried one? Yes, sir. Let me get it out of the rack. 2 seconds. Might as well have it in my hands while we're talking about it. Hey. So, got a Jaydee Series 3 here. Supernatural. Mark King model. Strap would be good. There we are. That's the fella. So this is a Mark King t-shirt. If anyone out there is a level 42 fan or Mark King fan, this is part of a range of t-shirts you'll find in the Brooksy's Bass Corner merchandise shop. Basically taking quotes from bass celebrities who I've had the pleasure and honor to interview on various occasions when I used to write for Bass Guitar Magazine and Bass Player Magazine. So this is the Mark King one. If you want to check it out, have a look on the affiliate links in the description box. So it's taken from an interview I did with Mark in July 2017. God, 7 years ago. Where did it go? So, Jaydee's. Yes, we have a Jaydee Series 3 here. Okay, I think it is, oh, I can't even see the number. I think it's a 88 model, but I could be wrong. I will check it. I will check it for another time. But anyway, yes, fabulous basses. What do I think about Jaydee basses? Okay, obviously there's the obvious connection with Mark King. Then you got players like George Anderson with Shack Attack, Dennis Smith from Nick Kershaw's original band. Used to use them a lot. They are just going through a hell of a renaissance since Mark went back to using them through a fit of nostalgia while we were in lockdown. And I think there was also a degree of inevitability that Mark got a heads up from Rob Green that Rob at Status was going to go into semi-retirement. There's that. There's also the fact that during lockdown, Mark kind of got reattached to his Jaydees, and also the tour they did when they came out, or we came out of lockdown in 2021. It was a 40th anniversary tour for the first album, and what bass is on that album? It's one of these. So to make it all sound authentic and lovely, Mark went back to using these, which obviously then inspired a huge flurry of new orders at Jaydee. Obviously very sad now that the original master, John Diggins, is no longer with us, passed away in January. Hope you're enjoying yourself up there, sir. But yeah, so trying to get one now. I think there's something like a 3-year backlog, possibly. Joe Goose might appear later. Joe's got a couple of basses being built by Jaydee, and he's now into, I think, his 4th year of waiting. So that gives you an idea of the general backlog. But Jaydee basses, I mean, legendary bass from the 80s, kind of lost their way once Mark moved over to Alembic in 87 and 88. They kind of got branded in the Exotica, Bass Exotica tag, which, you know, it lives up to it. It's a 5-piece, 7-piece laminate neck, you know, lovely 3-band electronics, all the slapperoos and all of that. But they kind of got lumped in with Wowls and Status and Alembic and and all the fancy bass exotica, and kind of took a nosedive in popularity when grunge came along. Then we had Britpop. Everyone wanted Fenders, Rickenbackers, and Gibsons, you know, so these things kind of took a back seat, but they're coming back now. Used prices are very high, purely because if you find one in very good condition and there's no problems with it, you haven't got a 4-year wait for a brand new one. So they're holding their value very nicely. Have I ever tried one? Obviously, I've got this one on. I did own one. I bought one in 1998, secondhand, out of Loot, which was the ads paper that preceded Gumtree. And there was a guy in London selling one, and it was ridiculous. It was like £275. But what I didn't know was, at the time of buying, thinking I've got a bargain here, he'd taken the circuit out and put it in a bass that he'd made. And what he put in the Jaydee was a little custom-made PCB board. It was a preamp just by the fact that it was a PCB board with some circuitry on. It certainly wasn't a Jaydee EQ, put it that way. So I had that bass. I had an EMG circuit put in, because back then I didn't have internet access, trying to get hold of Jaydee and, you know, getting basses refurbed, and it wasn't as easy as it is today. So I took it to the bass center, got Chris Ward. Evening, Chris. He won't be watching this, but hello, Chris, anyway. And he put an EMG 3-band EQ in for me, and it sounded great. But the problem with that bass, it was an 86, and it was around a period when maybe Jaydee were pumping out basses to fulfill the popularity because of Mark King and Level 42, and some of the instruments just didn't come up to the caliber they should have. I've heard over the years that there were maybe 1 or 2 people that were helping that just weren't reaching the levels that Jaydee guitars needed, and also some of the timber wasn't as seasoned as it needed to be, just trying to fulfill orders. It was like a mad time. Anyway, this bass basically had a neck that was twisting and moving. You think of the worst banana neck you've seen. I could spend hours on the truss rod sorting out the action. Always had it fitted with 4000s, never had 3090s on it. And if I got the neck right, I'd think, great. And I'd plug it in and I'd start playing, and within 5 to 10 minutes, it would start moving again. It was just so temperamental. And also the fact that the ebony fingerboard clearly hadn't been looked after, conditioned, lubricated. And as ebony does, if you allow it to dry out, it started to pull apart. So there were 3 cracks on the fingerboard where it was starting to split. And in the end, the band I was in at the time, I had Mark's old Stingray, of course, and that just fitted the bill tonally far better than the Jaydee. So in 2002, I shifted that Jaydee on to make way for my Statuses, which I ended up buying. So yeah, so that was it. So my first experience of owning a Jaydee wasn't fabulous, but this one seems to be behaving itself, and you know, they're lovely to play. You get one and you set it up right, and they just really play nicely. But you know, some models, as with any brand of bass, some models are just going to be temperamental due to the materials, sealing, lacquer coats, humidity, temperature, all of that. So this one is pretty good. I haven't got it on my workbench yet. I've actually got some screws that the ever lovely Joe Goose provided right here. Thank you, Joe. They're going in the bridge when I get this on the workbench. Put some new strings on, give it a clean up, set it all up, and then there'll be some demo and review videos. But it plays great, and has every Jaydee hallmark you would expect. Circuit's pretty good, doesn't seem too noisy. No signs that anything's deteriorating on the circuit board, so we're all good, really. So that's my my thoughts on that. Steffi, hello, good evening. How's that those bass lessons going? Hope it's all going very good. Stacy saying hello to Steffi. Westfort, yes, 4 years is a lot of time to wait. It is. Is Westfort Joe Goose under another name? Multiple profiles, that boy. But yeah, so that's where we are on the Jaydee bus, really. So what are we talking about this week? We are talking about, so if you've seen the title of the video, maybe you've come through from Facebook or Instagram or the YouTube channel, and you were browsing and you've sort of stumbled across the channel. Well, you're very welcome. It's good to see you. So we're talking about a situation I had last week. So the regulars know what I do, but if you're new to the channel, so I play in a disco show band called Uncle Funk's Disco Inferno here in the UK. We do loads of theatre shows, festival shows, private bookings, all of that sort of thing. And sorry, I'm just going to put the bass down there. Stay there. That's very good. And so we do that show. We've got a new theatre show coming up that starts at the end of October. And it's the first show. We're going to be filming, doing all sorts of bits and bobs, and hopefully it'll be rolled out to theatres and festivals next year. So in this new show, we've got 44 songs, and we've been preparing for it. We did a rehearsal, small rehearsal. Not everyone in the band was at it, but we had like a run through for several of the decades. So basically it's called the Decades of Dance, and we're going from late 70s, because we already have a disco show, so we can't do too much of the disco genre, and we're going right up to current day. So dance classics, club smashes all through those decades. But it's 44 songs. We did this rehearsal about, let's think, 6 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago, and it was good. It was okay, but it was very obvious there was a lot we needed to do and to brush up on, and we needed everyone there. So we reconvened and said, look, wait until next rehearsal, but next rehearsal, we've got to have a full run through, because we need to work out which songs are going to work, which ones aren't, some that we might need to truncate, some we might need to expand, get the medleys all tight. So we were looking at it and realized a lot of work. But with that sort of band, we get stuck in. And so basically I'd been running through some of the songs a little, but I'd had the tracks. So basically our sound man, I guess you can call Theo producer, because basically he creates the tracks from the originals in terms of how long, are we finishing after a second chorus? Are we doing the whole song? Are we cutting off the intro? And he does all those, sends them through. That's what we're learning from. Then I take those tracks, I've got them on my hard drive, I put them on my phone, so when I'm out walking the dog, I can listen to them. Because a lot of this sort of stuff is about getting the songs into your brain so you're familiar with them. I'll burn a CD, stick it in the car. I've also got them on my phone. I can play them on the car as well. But we realized a lot of work for last Sunday's rehearsal. So in total, it was 44 songs we had to run through in 8 hours, which is a fair old schlep. That's a lot of work, a lot of playing. So we'd had all the time to prepare. So how was I going to get all of that stuff up there? So I don't read. I don't read music. I don't generally use tabs unless I'm working something out. And it was a case of learning those songs and getting them in my head. So just bear with me a moment. It's okay, Ollie. We've got our my mother-in-law's dog here. And I think my partner's just returned from the hospital, which I'll explain more about later. It's okay. And so we had the rehearsal Sunday, but I had to get those songs in my head. So rather than have a last minute cramming session, which is what a lot of people do when they do exams, I'd been preparing over like a couple of weeks leading up to this. But the first starting point of that is you've got to make yourself au fait with the tracks. Now, our horn players read. They don't necessarily learn the songs. Our sax player writes it all out for her and the trumpet player. And then it's there, presented to them on an iPad, and they play it. For me, the guitarist, keyboard player, drummer, we have to learn the stuff. We got to get it in our heads, because when we're playing, we're not reading pads. We are performing. So you've got to get all that stuff prepped under your fingers, but you've got to know the arrangements in your head. So that's where the tracks from our sound man really help, because we know kind of what the layout's going to be. You know, are we doing a verse, chorus, middle eight? Are we just doing a verse and a chorus? Are we going to do 2 verses and 2 choruses? Are we doing the ending? Are we not doing the ending? So getting myself au fait with that. So we'd had the first little rehearsal, realized we were going to need to put in a bit more effort on it. So we did that. So once we got to start last week, I started building my prep. So today's live chat, I'm going to give you an insight into how I learned 44 songs for Sunday's rehearsal. But before I do that, obviously, anyone wants to join in by video, email brooksySpaceCorner@gmail.com. You'll see the ticker running along the bottom of the screen. I'll keep checking the emails. If you want to come in on the live chat, feel free. If you want to ask me questions while I'm talking about all this, you can. That's what we're here for. Right, let's just check. We got any? No, got no one asking yet, so that's fine. So I'm just going to shut my office door in a moment. Right, in fact, I'm going to do it now. So give me 2 seconds. Just going to shut my door. Very good. So, I started building the list for the rehearsal. So I could have been slapdash and just played the songs, listened to them, gone, yeah, it's close enough. No, we are on a time limit. We have to be ready. Our last rehearsal, which is going to be a full dress rehearsal before the first show, is the 20th of October, which is basically about 5-6 weeks away. So we don't have a lot of time. So we have to be really like on it from this point on. So I wrote out a list of what we're playing. So it's basically 2 bits of A4 with a list of all the stuff, all the songs. Okay. With the scribblings of a madman, of course. And on there, I'm going to eventually move this over onto an A3 sheet so I can have it wide on a music stand for practice here at home. So basically, I've listed out every song, then what bass I'm using. Am I using a 4-string or a 5-string? Because quite a lot of these songs need a 5. I haven't written out which bass I'm going to use yet. While I was doing all this last week, I actually stuck to using a 4 and a 5-string Stingray, Music Man Stingray, purely because a lot of these songs were actually originally recorded with Stingrays. There's a lot of keyboard bass on here, which I've got to replicate. So to do that, I'm using bass synth pedals, which I've got in my tub down there. So there's a Source Audio C4. There's the EHX mono synth, and then there's a Boss. I think it's an SYB 3. It's either the 3 or the 5. I think it's the 3. Then I've got whether I'm using any drop pedal settings. So the Digitech drop. Well, you can't see it. The camera's not there. I'm not showing you the rest of the room. It's a mess. So whether I'm using a synth pedal, drop pedal, octave pedal. There will be another column when I go onto the A3 piece of paper, which will have any other residual effects. So am I kicking in an EQ boost? Am I using the BBE sonic stomp? Am I using any fuzz, any distortion, all of that sort of thing? Then I get into the section where I'm basically putting in what the key of the song is, and then what the general chord progression. Some of the songs need a bit more depth than others. So some of these notes were like a bit sketchy. And I know when I was running through it on Sunday, going through all of this, it was like, oh my God, but I knew what it meant. So some of the songs have got little parts, things like Shaka Khan, I Feel For You. It's a synth, bass synth part played on a synth. There are loads of little tricky fills and what have you, and I was writing them down. So how do I do that? For me, I put the track into Audacity, which is a free application. You can have it on Android, iPhone. I use it on my desktop here. I put the track in, select the track, select the waves. I then go into, I might as well do it while I'm telling you, and then I'll make sure I'm doing it properly. So here we go. So I click on the track. Let's just pick something. That comes in, select all. So what I want to do is I want to slow the track down, but I don't want to change the pitch. I want it to stay in the pitch that it is. So you go into effect, come down to pitch and tempo, and then actually what you're changing is the tempo. So what I just said about not changing I'm talking, right, I got the two mixed up. We're changing the tempo, not the pitch. The pitch would be what key it's in. What we're trying to do is just change the speed that the track's running at. So if a track's running at 125, I might want to bring it down to 115, 110, maybe even more. With Chaka Khan, I actually slowed it down by about 12%. So you click change tempo. It then gives you a box that says there are presets and settings, but the general, it does it automatically. It will try and slow it down by 10%. You can actually change the beats per minute if you want to do it that way, or you can change the length in terms of time. Take your pick, go for 10%, click apply, and it then lengthens the file because obviously it's running slower, but the pitch, the actual key, the notes stay the same. It's just a slower thing. So as you're playing through it, instead of it being at that sort of tempo, it will be going like almost half speed ish, but it's only slowed down by 10%. That allows you to hear the bass line played slower. So you can then, just using pause and play, you can see the WAV, you can see where it's all happening. So if you find a point that you suddenly go, oh, I've missed what that note is, you just pull it back and you carry on. You can put it onto a repeat if you want. If there's a chunk that's going by too quick and you know you're going to be at it for a couple, 10, 15 minutes trying to break it down, cut the segment or select the segment and just put it on repeat, and it'll just go round. It's just a loop, just go round and round and round. And from that, you can then pick out what the individual notes are. And you then, right, well, I've got the notes, and then it's a case of bringing it back up to speed. So then you open the original file again, because obviously the file you're working from has been slowed down. Open up another occurrence of that file, and then you've got the slowed down one and the one at regular tempo. And you can just speed it up, slow it down, bring it back up in increments until you get the phrase under your fingers. I had a real mental block with the Chaka Khan one. I used to play it in Uncle Funk as a dep, but everyone in the band played it slightly differently, and it was a real mishmash of the Chaka Khan version and the Prince one. For this, I wanted to play the proper exact bass line as it was on the record. Doing the slow downing thing, within about, I'd say 90 minutes, I had about 90 to 95% of it sorted out. There were just a couple of little fast keyboard fills that were flying by a bit quick, which on a keyboard isn't so bad because you're doing that. On bass, you've got that, two hands coordinated. And it seemed to work. Within 90 minutes, I had the bulk of it there. So anything that I'm finding in these tracks, and some of them are a little tricky, especially if they've got synth bass on, that was the way I was doing it. So running through here, there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's 10 medleys in here consisting of 3 or 4 songs. And we're going right through from late 70s up to the modern day. So I worked through 2 days to prepare this sheet. It was going through all the tracks. The start of each day, so you get your first day out of the way, you learn what you've learned. Second day, before I start learning anything new, I run through everything that I learned the day before just to reinforce it. It's amazing by doing that how much you realize you forget, because it's not that you're cramming, but the volume of what you're learning is filling your brain. And when you come to play it after day 1, after day 2, after day 3, you need that reclarification of what you're actually playing. Reinforces what you're learning. It's no different than studying for an exam. Repetition, 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 going through stuff over and over again. It eventually sinks in. That's what happened with this. So I had Wednesday, Thursday, Friday prepping the tracks. Saturday was literally playing this through over and over again. So all of this combined comes to about 2 hours and 10 minutes. We actually only need 1 hours, so 120 minutes instead of 130. So Saturday was just playing this over and over and over and over and over again until I got to a point where it's like, well, I can't do any better now. We've got to take it into a rehearsal studio, get us all together and play it. So that's what we did on Sunday. And it took 8 hours and we got it all covered. Next rehearsal is in 3 weeks, 3 weeks, 3 weeks time. Next rehearsal. So now we've got geography on all this. We've decided what things are staying, which songs are going. Anything that's too overly expanded, we've cut. There'll be another set of tracks from our sound man coming through in about a week or so's time. That allows us now to rehearse on our own at home, all of us, doing the practice, putting in the graft. Next rehearsal, we'll be running this all through again, tightening things up. The bass synths can now come out. So on Sunday, I was running off my small board, tuner, drop pedal, octave pedal, filter, preamp. That was it. I didn't want to clutter everything up, trying to work out bass synth presets and all that until we've nailed down what we're doing, because I'd be really hacked off, as anyone would, if you suddenly sorted out a load of bass synth sounds and then realize those songs aren't going to happen. So now we know pretty much what we're keeping and what's going. Over the next 3 weeks, I can now refine this, make my playing tighter. I can start pulling out different pedals, different octave pedals, different filters. I'm going to be building my new pedal train board over the next 3 weeks, putting it all together. There'll be videos on the channel as I'm doing this. And basically now I know the sounds I need for each song. So I'm going to be pulling different pedals out. Some of the octave pedals will work, some won't. Some will have the tone I want, some won't. But that's the whole idea. I've got to nail and pinpoint which pedals I'm going to use for this, because it's going to be quite a convoluted show from the bass chair. So we'll see where we go. So next rehearsal, I think, is 6th of October. Then after that, there's one more rehearsal, which is full dress rehearsal. I think we're doing it up at a university hall in Cambridge. And we're going to have the full setup, full system, full production. We're going to play it. We're going to play it probably 3 times over. Next show, well, next thing after that dress rehearsal is the show. So we'll see where we go. So that's kind of how I learned 44 songs for an 8-hour rehearsal. So if you've got any questions, you want to ask me about any of this, what I've just said, put your comments in the chat box, fire away. That's what I'm here for. If I can help, if you've got something similar coming up, I'll try and help you. Okay. Gareth Harrison, good to see you. Rainy Manchester, rainy London as well. It's absolutely bucketing down here. It's been trying to do it all day, and we've just had like drizzle here and there, and then we've had a long period of dryness through the afternoon, but it's absolutely hammering down here. If you're watching the football, you'll see it at Wembley. It's pouring. Abdullah, watching from Bangladesh. Good evening. Welcome. You're very welcome here. Brooksy's Bass Corner. If you've got any bass-related questions, then fire away. That's what I'm here for. So, yeah, topic of conversation tonight, as well as all the regular bass stuff, of course, goes without saying, is I've just learned 44 songs for a rehearsal for a show that I'm doing at the end of October. If you've got any questions about what I've just said, regarding all these songs, how to learn it. If you got any tips, any pointers, some people I know can't retain song information. They have to have cheat sheets or iPads or what have you. How would you have coped doing a 44 songs show if iPads didn't exist? You'd have had to chart it all out and have reams and reams of paper on music stands. Not good. It's got to be in there, especially with an electric band. You know, you're there to entertain people. It's not a recital. It's not a recital. You've got to know the stuff and know it backwards. I know the first couple of shows we do with this are going to be, it's going to be like walking on hot coals, because you're just not prepared for all the eventualities. And a lot of these songs, it's bang, 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 especially in the medleys. So a lot of volume of work. Some songs can get a bit similar. You can forget what a tempo is, what a feel is. And I've tried to do that in my notes. And when we get to the show, the end of October, I won't have these notes. This will all be in there. But I've got to make sure I get all the feels right, all the tempos right, all the progressions right, and factor in that this is going to be the busiest pedal board I've ever had in my life. And I need to actually, probably on the set list, I'll do my own set list and I'll put a column in so I can say exactly which I might even do it on a numbering basis. So next to each song title, I might say 1, 5, 7, 8. So I know they've all got to go on. The challenge comes turning them off after the song before you go into the next one. Got to get that all right. But it's going to be fun. It sounded good. We were a little worried the first 45 minutes to an hour on Sunday. It was like, this is a lot. This is a lot. And once we started getting further and further into it, it was like, this is really good. It's going to be great. So can't wait to get this out. Right, Visog, got a nerdy bass question. That's what we're here for, of course. Best fretless string gauge. Getting mine set up as we speak. Right, what are you... don't worry about the gauge for now. What material and what sort of winding? So are you having steels, nickels, phosphor bronze, tape wounds? And then it goes into, are you having round wounds, half wounds, or flat wounds? Then we can get on to gauge, because some materials and some windings, you don't have much choice. Gareth Harrison, I use the Nashville number system as I find it easier to retain. Good. I've never gone into that. I know, I'm very aware of it. I've never gone into it. I kind of just have my way of doing this, and I've had it ever since I did my first dep gig in 96, where I had to learn a lot of stuff very quick. And I just find that what I've done over the years works for me. It is graft. You've got to put the graft in, but once you've done it, as I found when we were preparing Disco Inferno with Uncle Funk during lockdown, we had a longer period then to learn it over. But it was still 33 songs, 33, 34, I think. But I just know what works for me. So it's a case of getting the songs in your head. And if I've got a new project or if I'm depping something and there's a lot to learn, I will always have that stuff on my phone. So whether I'm walking the dog, going to the shops, driving to a gig, I can be listening to that material. Getting the stuff in your head is half the battle. Once it's in there and you then start sitting down and working the stuff out, a lot of it tends to fall in place. You know what the next note progression or chord progression might be. You can almost second guess it, which you can't do if you don't know the songs. So that kind of works for me. Right, Vissel, round wounds. Okay. What string material? What are you going for? Steels, nickels, tapes, bronze. So you don't tend to get a lot of fretless using bronze unless they're semi-acoustic. You haven't told me what bass this is yet. Spill the beans. I've got the email inbox here. So anyone wants to join in, you want to come on video here on the live chat, send me an email, brooksyspacecorner@gmail.com. I will send you an invite. You click on the invite and you're live on screen. You're going steel on a Squire Jazz round wounds. Okay. Right. if you're going to do fretless, you don't really want to go too light. So scrap 3090s. 3595 would be the very lightest I'd go with. You might find it's a bit too slippery. Personally, I would start at 4000s, but then you can start going into a hybrid set. So if you want a heavier top and a slinkier bottom, if you'll pardon the phrase, not a euphemism at all, you might want to go for a 45, 65, 80, 100, maybe. Or if you like to dig in and you like a heavier string, then, you know, start looking at 4505s and then work from there. There's nothing to stop you picking individual strings. So if you wanted a 50 as a G string, maybe a 50, a 65, 80, 100, you could do that. It's just depends what sort of tone you're after. And what sort of damage you want to do to the fingerboard. So obviously having round wounds is going to give you some issues. If you went round wound and nickel, you might not get as much damage to the fingerboards because steel's more abrasive. Nickel is a softer metal. Nickel will have a slightly warmer sound than steel, but nickels their sound is consistent for longer, whereas with steels, you're very bright at the start and then it kind of fades. Nickels will not be as bright, not as in your face, but they maintain that performance over a longer period. You're thinking 4095s. Okay. That's fine. I'm just wondering if that E might be a little light. You might find it a bit baggy. You've got no resistance from frets. So the only way you're going to know is to buy a set and try it. And over 2 months, you'll realize whether you want to go up or down any gauges. This is the same thing with any bass. You know, I've put 4000s on basses and thought it was okay. And then over time thought, it's not working, is it? The tone's not coming to life. Gone up one gauge and it's suddenly, whoa, now we've got the bass I thought I had. So if you want to go 4095s, do it and see where you are. So you may want, if you can, buy a set of steels and a set of nickels. If having metal strings in those formats is what you're after, so you don't want tape wounds, you don't want anything else like wrap strings, like elixirs. You might not, I don't know. But if you're going to go 4095, buy yourself a set of steels and a set of nickels. Put the steels on, and if you're happy, you're happy. And if you're not, and you think it's just too bright, then swap them out after those strings start to die off and try the nickels. And if that doesn't boil your egg, then it's a case of changing the gauge and seeing what works. I suspect you're probably going to go up one. I think you might go to 4505 or a cross hybrid, so 45 to 100. Because like I say, there's no frets for resistance. You are on bare wood, and you sometimes with fretless, not that it feels spongy, but you want something for your fingers to grip onto, perhaps. But you'll only know once you're doing it. If you went to a lighter gauge, then so be it. But 4095 is fair to sort of middle ground. So yeah. Okay. Gareth Harrison was on Strings Direct earlier. Saw the Rotosound Drop Zone plus strings. Who on earth would use them? Rockers that are going for a seriously dropped sound, who are going for drop tunings like A, G on a B string, all that sort of thing. Doesn't really work for me. I don't play in those sort of bands. But if you're in a real metal full-on band, they're the people using drop zone strings. Kev, Seabase, good to see you. Long time no see. Popping in and out as usual. You do what works for you, Kev. Spend the money, get Elixirs 4505. The coating gives it just a little less dig into the board. Nice sound from the start and lasts a good time. There you go. But again, you're only going to find these things out by experimenting with different brands, different gauges, different string materials. It never ends. Strings never end. I thought I had everything wrapped up in piccatos and then ended up going over to rotor sound. And even now, some of my basses don't have rotor sounds on. They've got different brand strings on. So, you know, every bass is different. Some brands and some gauges, some materials just work on certain basses and others don't. So there, yeah. So you've got Elixir's 4505 on your status. Cool. Okay. See, on my empathy, and some of you've watched the various empathy basses here on the channel, especially the workshop video, you'll notice. Now, okay, this has done like well over 1,000 gigs, but I always use round wound steels on this. So hopefully you can see those marks. Now, when I clean the board with some WD-40, those marks become reduced. But that's what happens. It's a working bass. You know, it's got dings all over it, this thing. And I can remember there's a big, where is it? There's a bang there. I did it at Shepherd's Bush Walkabout playing Mr. Brightside. I hit a Parkan. Parkan light. It took a big clump out of the graphite, but there we are. Excuse me. So yeah, you know, strings is an experimental thing, but the way you can reduce the options is find the metal you like, then find the gauge you like, and then work within those parameters. So once you've got the gauge, if you know you don't want to go up or down on any given string, it's then easier to then start looking at the different brands. So, and I did that, you know, I did that in 2015. I spent about £350 of my own money buying loads of different strings, different brands, different gauges, what have you. And that's how I ended up moving over to rotor sound. Gareth Harrison, 8,500 and 535 and a 175. Oh, that 175 for those strings, you'll be putting a new nut on your bass. It's simple as that. Or you can get to work on the nut that's on there. Just be careful when you're doing it. But yeah, 175. That's going to be like playing a tow rope. Visog, thanks. All good input. Open Pandora's string box there, mate. Been down that. I've been through that box more times than I care to remember. It never changes. You get sounds in your head, and you think you're settled on your strings, and then you'll hear another. You'll hear your bass with a different set on and go, oh my god! Suddenly a whole load of tonal colors and resonance has come out that you'd never heard before. The difference between the rotor sounds on that bass and when I had piccatos, two very different sounds. I've still got sets of piccatos in the workshop, and when I put a set of piccatos on that empathy and then go backwards and forwards between the rotor sounds, you hear the difference. It's really marked. It's very different. Gareth, it sounds like madness to me. It is madness, bass madness. Welcome to my world. Cheers, everyone. Hope you're all good. It's just coming up to 9 o'clock here on Brooksy's Bass Corner. Live chat 79 coming to you from London town here in the UK. Regular Tuesday night live chat. We are going through until 17th of December. We're here every Tuesday from 8 o'clock here in the UK. So come on in if you've got any questions to do with basses, bass guitars, amps, effect pedals, accessories, strings, gig bags, the lot. That's what we're here for. So if you want to come in onto the live chat by video, you can. Just send me an email, brooksy'sbasscorner@gmail.com. Got the inbox there. As soon as I see someone send me an email, I'll send you the invite link. You click on the link and then you pop up here on the window. So if you want to have a one-to-one chat, or even there's a bunch of us talking bass, we can do these things. We can do all of that. If you've got any questions about any of the stuff we've done in recent weeks, so how to make money from being a bass player, using your bass to earn cash. If you want to talk about best bands and artists you've ever seen, we can do that as well. So we've been back on the live chat since I think the first week in July. So we're in like 2 months now. So thank you to everyone for joining in, getting involved, coming back week after week. It's all very much appreciated. Thank you to all new subscribers. We had a subscriber surge the other day. I think I had about 8 new subscribers in a very short couple of hours. So thank you very much. If you've just joined up, you're welcome here at Brooksy Space Corner, of course. It's good to have you along. Thank you for all the likes, all the comments, all the shares. Get involved on the social media posts. It's fabulous. Everything's in the green at the moment. I'm a happy man. So I know I said it week after week, there'll be some new content. I realize I haven't put up a regular video on the channel since about the first week in July. It's been manic. Right. So what's been going on? So we did last week's live chat, of course. I then started all the prep for the theatre stuff for the new show. We had the rehearsal on Sunday. I didn't have any gigs Friday and Saturday, but I'll come back to that. I did have a gig yesterday in Peckham, southeast London, which basically ate up all my day yesterday. So got nothing done on the channel yesterday, got nothing done on Sunday, got nothing done Saturday, Friday, Thursday, Wednesday. Nothing got done because I had to prep all this other stuff. Then on top of that, life took over. So the regulars here, if you cast your mind back to about 16 months ago, you'll know my father-in-law developed cancer, died last August. So my mother-in-law is 87, got various issues as people of that age have. She fell over 2 weeks ago at home. We thought she was okay. And following day, she said she felt a bit sore. Took her to the hospital. She had fractured ribs, 3 fractured ribs. Then developed an infection. That got dealt with. She went home last Monday. By the end of last week, Friday, Saturday, not good. So turns out she's got a very major life-threatening infection. Now she's on serious meds. Serious meds. She's going to be in hospital probably for a couple of weeks. We're looking after her dog, of course. He's been here 2 weeks. Ollie, lovely Ollie. This all goes along with the fact that her house is being sold, moving in with my sister-in-law, and now we've got all this to contend with. And there's a house sale going through, and everything is like, it's a day by day. We don't know what's going to happen from one day to the next, on top of dealing with life, dealing with gigs, dealing with learning a theatre show. So please bear with me over the coming weeks. If content isn't going up as quickly as I want it to, it will. It's sat there. I just don't have the actual time, hours in the day, every single day to go 150%. We'll get there, but there's just a lot of plate spinning and life juggling at the moment. So I appreciate if you can bear with me for a little period of time. Things will settle down, but at the moment we've got a mother-in-law's the priority, so we will get there. George Iliadis, greetings from Broad Beach, Gold Coast, Australia. Good to see you, my man. Thank you for liking the stuff on Instagram. I appreciate that. And all of you who get involved in liking the content and the social media posts and everything else, you know, I can't do it without you. So thank you very much, gang. Lovely job. Lovely job. Right. I think we're kind of up to date, aren't we? Oh, and then, then I remember. So here's a little life lesson for those who want to make a career as bass players. So let's think, when was that? 6 weeks ago. Bear in mind what I've just had happen over the past sort of 5 or 6 days. 6 weeks ago, I got asked if I was available for last Friday for an Ed Sheeran tribute in Southampton. At the time, I said, yes. Yeah, I can do it. Free. I had no gigs over the weekend. Just knew I had the rehearsal Sunday and the gig yesterday on Monday. So asked if I could do this gig. I said, yes, I can. And then I got told, oh, it's not definite. It's on. It might be. It might not be. Chased it up about 3-4 days later. No, it's probably not going to happen. Don't worry about it. Right. Okay. I'm looking in the diary thinking, right, rehearsal Sunday, keep Friday free in case a gig comes in for Saturday. So that's fine. I then got asked to do a gig on Saturday, bizarrely on the Isle of Wight. So I would have been Southampton, Isle of Wight, very close to each other here in the UK. That was for a Neil Diamond tribute. The problem with both of these outfits is if you've got not a lot going on and you can devote your time to learning a whole Ed Sheeran theatre set or a whole Neil Diamond theatre set, roughly for me, that's going to take 2 to 3 days to get it right. I don't like doing theatre shows half cocked. I don't want to put myself out there and it's an embarrassment. You've got to do it properly. And also, although I'd played with the Neil Diamond tribute before, I hadn't done the Ed Sheeran. I wouldn't want to go in there half baked. Okay. I'm not especially au fait with all of Ed Sheeran's material. I probably know how to play 3 or 4 of his songs that I've played before. There's going to be a lot of stuff in there I don't know. So I'm going to be learning it from scratch. The Neil Diamond stuff, obviously, I've done. But last time I did it, it was 2 separate shows about 8 weeks apart. I learned everything the first time round, did loads of notes. When I came to relearn it 8 weeks later, because I know how my brain works. So if I learn something for a show and then I don't have to do it again, that stuff just goes and my brain fills up with other stuff that's then happening. If I come back to that show, as with Neil Diamond, I had to relearn it. There's no way I've kept it in my head. And it was a not a brain drain, but it's a lot to hold. Again, a lot of stuff. If you're not au fait with all the songs, you've got to relearn them, you know. It's not like Queen stuff for me. I can and ABBA, I can keep ABBA in my head. I've kept ABBA in my head for the best part of 25 years. I've never forgotten it. But Neil Diamond would have been a relearn, so it would have been another 2 or 3 days. So basically, I was looking at 4 to 6 days to get both of those sets right, and to have learned all of this, all of that as well, and all the other things going on in my life. The best decision I made was saying no to the Neil Diamond one, because Isle of Wight would have meant leaving early, getting ferries across to the island and everything else. But then the Ed Sheeran thing came back and they said, "Oh no, gig's on now. Can you do it?" And I went, "I'm not going to do it." I said, "No, I can't." I said, "Because I'm going to have to learn it all from scratch." And that's fine. If I've got nothing else going on, that's not a big deal. But the fact that I've got 44 songs, my regular band to learn, and I've got other bits and bobs going on, it was like, no. Now looking back, in my younger days, I would have made it work. I would somehow have got all of that together and I would have learnt the Ed Sheeran stuff. The moment someone said, "Can you do it?" I'd have started learning it. But the best thing I did was not try to stretch myself that far, because I'd probably put myself in hospital today if I tried to do all of that and this show and the gig we had yesterday and everything else that's going on. It would have been too much. So a lesson, up and coming bass players, be careful. Think of your health, right? Sometimes you just say yes to everything. And I'm guilty of that. I used to do it. Sometimes look at what you've got coming up. Look what time you've got available. I am sure a lot of this take everything at all costs thing is what's causing a lot of people a few mental issues, a few emotional breakdowns. I keep seeing stuff on muso forums and what have you, people suffering under the strain of it. Only you say yes to doing these things. So take it from an old bird who's doing it. Okay. In my younger days, I would have just taken all of it and probably suffered for a couple of days after. As you get older, I'm not willing to put myself in that position, because I could have ended up, well, basically, I would have needed probably close to 8 to 10 days last week and going backwards to deal with all 3 things that I would have had going on. It just ain't worth it. And for the money that was being paid, it would have just been too much. It was too much of a push. And I just wasn't prepared to do it. Normally, I'll take anything I can fit in, but to learn 3 whole sets and to retain it all, I used to do all that all the time. And I've learned that you really are, as you're getting older, you know, it's not that I'm creaking at the seams. That's not what I'm saying. There's only so much you can keep up there. And I had the chat with Billy Sheehan about this. I can't remember if it was in the last, was it last interview, 2021? Might have been the one before that. And he said at his peak, he could only retain 4 sets of music in his head. He said, after that, I just can't remember stuff. So if he had Steve Vai, Mr. Big, Winery Dogs, and one other thing, that's him at breaking point. And it's true. I've been in that situation where I've been depping frantically and having my own regular band and trying to retain all that stuff. And it always happens around about summer and Christmas time that you'll be in a load of bands playing songs you know all the time. They'll all do a slightly different version of certain songs. And you try and remember which band am I? Oh, are we doing that change tonight? Or does that go into a medley? That's what happens. So, you know, think about your health. Think about what you've actually got capacity to do. If you're not great at remembering stuff, don't just take stuff for the sake of it, because if you do a bad job, those people might never call you again. And saying no is better than saying yes and making a complete dog's dinner of it. If you say no, but they want you, they'll come back and ask you again. If you say yes and it's bad, they might not come back. So don't feel like you have to say yes to everything. And I do know musicians who do this, and they'll say, yeah, I can play jazz, and yeah, I can do this, and yeah, I can do that. What they mean is, I just want the money, and they're not going to learn the stuff, and it's going to be a bit half-assed. I've never done that. If I don't think I can do it, if someone rang me up and said, we need you to do a load of jazz standards, I'm just going to say no, because I don't know it, and I'm not going to learn it for like one show. It's just, years gone by I would have, but now I don't want to. I don't want to put myself in that level of stress for something I don't enjoy or know. It's kind of doesn't make much sense to me anymore. Gareth Harrison just bought a Nordy Mute and love it. They are great. They are great. I use the Groove Gear Fump, that thing. That's the one I use. But I've heard the Nordy one is very good. Excellent. Get some mileage out of that. George Iliadis, I remember the anxiety of not being prepared for a gig, knees knocking all night. I've been there, but I'd like to think maybe 9.8% of my gigging career, I've been completely prepared for every gig I was doing. Certainly as a dep, because they're relying on you. Occasionally there might have been a gig or two where it was so short notice. I mean, my record, I've mentioned this one before, was in about, I think it was 2012 or 2013. And I was on the couch watching the football. Man U were in the Champions League, and the football just finished. So it was about 10 o'clock. No, it was just before that. It was about 9:45. And I was getting ready to go to bed. And my phone rang, and we had snow issues here in London and the southeast at the time. And the band leader rang me up and said, where are you? I said, well, I'm at home watching the football. Where are you? He said, we're playing at Wardour Street O'Neill's, but our bass player's in Brighton, and they've just basically shut the M23 leading up to London, and he can't get here. He said, there's no way he's going to get here. I said, what time are you on? He said, well, 11. He said, but we could go on a little bit later and just not have a break. I went, okay. He said, can you do it? I said, yeah. I said, but I've literally got to leave in like the next 3 minutes. So do you want to get off the phone and I'll get everything together? Thankfully, all my gear was in the car because I'd done a gig the night before, and the gear was in the car. So I didn't have to load anything apart from my bass. I did have to get out my pajamas and dressing gown though, and get my gig clothes on, and got in the car, raced into town, got parked. I walked through the door at Wardour Street O'Neill's at 2 minutes past 11, and we started playing at 11:15. So that's been like the finest I've ever had it. So literally within 90 minutes, I've been there to do it. But thankfully, I knew all the stuff. It was general covers band. And they said, look, anything you don't know on the set, we'll just change it for something you do know that we all know. And it worked out okay. It was a bit of a lifesaver for them. But yeah, all those favors I did that band. There's a story there. I won't go into it because then it'll put it into the realms of the real world. Anyway, Scott M, good to see you. Thanks for all the likes and stuff on Instagram, Scott. Really appreciate it. The Groove Gear mute is nice as well. It is. Now, people who use mutes. Now, I was always of the old school thing. You put a bit of sponge under the strings. But the thing is, every time I tend to use these mutes, it's so muted, there's literally no note. It's almost like just a percussive boom, boom, boom. There's no actual cadence to the note. Is that what all of the mutes are like? I don't have the Naughty one. I don't have any other brands. I've just got that and a bunch of different foams and sponges. But this thing, just literally, you get no note when you play the string. It is just a thump. So they named it right. The Groove Gear Thump. But yeah, so here we are. It's 9:10. Live chat 79 here on Brooksy's Bass Corner, coming to you from London town here in the UK. Good to see you all. Thanks for joining in. If you want to join in by video, you can. Just email me, brooksysbasscorner@gmail.com. I'll send you an invite. And then you click on the invite and you come live here on the screen. So if you want to talk to me or you want to talk to someone else who's on here, we can have up to 8 of us live. I think the record's 6, as far as I'm aware. Scott, sorry, I missed on there. Neoland, good to see you, Pete. Evening all, good to see you. Been watching some of your videos this week. Scott M, I agree with you. The Groove Gear mute definitely really mutes. Yeah, I do like the kitchen sponge from time to time. Yeah, I've got sponge, I've got foam, and I've got some of that sort of heavily compressed grey stuff. I can't remember what it came out of, but I do use it in basses where the foam under the pickups has died. The Lakeland's going to be getting some of that very shortly, and actually the black standard P, which I use for the Queen tribute, that's going to get some as well. So I have different sort of thicknesses and what's the word? Compression levels. So this grey stuff doesn't compress much. It sort of holds everything in place. George Iliadis, any tips on micro bass amps? We now live in an apartment looking for something very compact. Yeah. Do you want a combo or do you want a separate cab and amp? If you're going to go down that route, I would suggest get yourself a Trace Elliott Elf. So if you do any gigs or anything, you've got 200 watts, but it's lovely and dinky and it fits in your back pocket. I think where my one is. Just give me a second. Oh, my gig bags are in the hallway. I'm not going out there. The dogs will start barking. So the Elf will fit in your back pocket. It's 200 watts amp. You should be able to get one for about 200. Where are you? Australia. I don't know what the exchange rate is. Probably going to be close to about. Well, you can get them second hand here in the UK for about 180 quid. Brand new, probably about 250. But if you want a combo, I mean, the world's your oyster, really. I mean, you go down. Depends how high tech you want to be, and what sort of sound quality you want. So you can look at things like Phil Jones. Mark Bass do loads of amps. Lots of manufacturers now do a 1x10 cabinet. So if you had a 1x10 cabinet and an Elf, job done, really. But if you want it in a combo, I mean, there is the Trace Elliott Elf combos, of course. I'll post a link up for anyone who wants to check out the review I did a long time ago now, 4 years ago nearly. We want that, don't we? Here we Oh, no, that's not it, is it? Do that again. Oh, I know why I've changed the title of it, haven't I, you idiot. That's why it's not coming up when you type in Trace Elliott. Yeah, exactly. So if you want to check this out, you can. Aaron Byrne, good to see you. Thank you for liking my post earlier on Facebook. Roland bass cubes, yep. Cracking little practice combos, agreed. Yep. So there's the elf combo there, but you might find it depends what sound you're after, to be fair. But you know, if you had an elf and a 1x10 EBS cab, that's gonna sound great. Mark bass do 110s. In fact, most bass manufacturers will do there's like a 110 cabinet. I think Galley and Kruger even do 1/8s, 1x8, which is even smaller. But obviously, the smaller your cone size, you forfeit in bass frequency. So you might start sounding a bit like a banjo. It depends what you want. Vox amp plugs, yeah. There's so much out there, George. Really, there's so many possibilities. Gear has moved on so much that you know, literally every month there's something new along these lines. So, what's your budget going to be? What are you looking to spend? And is it only going to be for at home? You're not planning on taking this to rehearsal or a gig or anything? All my gear is still in Melbourne. I just have my daily driver base, no amp, very frustrated. We'll check out the Trace. You can also look at these. So my camera is perched on a box at the moment. So let me show you this. So this is from Ashdown here in the UK. These are called Tone Pockets. It's going to be a review of this very shortly. I bought one. They were doing them on special offer. So basically, I can take it all out in a minute, but basically it's that. And this has Bluetooth and USB. I think it's got USB, but it's got Bluetooth. So basically, if I've got music on my phone, I can connect and play those tunes through here. And you can basically, it's like a little amp. So you can output to a speaker if you want, but also do headphones and Bluetooth headphones. So yeah, I bought this a little while ago because I did a gig a year or two ago. I could really have done with this when we finished sound check, just so I could have taken myself off to a little corner and just run the whole set without the band having to see me doing it, just as like a last minute refresher. So it comes in a nice little bag and adapters and all of that stuff's in there. Evening, Mr. Gooday from Ashdown. Messrs. Gooday. Dan, Mark, if you're watching, this demo and review and unboxing thing will be happening shortly, I promise. Just been a little overwhelmed with stuff going on. So I got a white one. So it looks like this. So basically, you've got your input for your bass. You've got a line in for 3.5 there. You then got bass, mids, highs, volume, headphone output. You then got Bluetooth on the back. You've also got USB out as well, and a line out. So again, you can take this to a cab or a mixer or whatever. This will also allow you to, you can use this as a recording interface, an audio interface for recording on your Mac, your PC, laptop, whatever. And brand new, oh no, I think this was B stock, but it hadn't been used. I got this for about 90 quid. So sign up to Ashdown for their emails and they do clear outs quite regularly of gear, not anything else. Thank you for anyone says. And yeah, gets a little bag, adapter, all of that, 90 quid. So if you're just playing at home or at work or whatever, no one has to hear you. Just put your headphones on, run your tunes from your phone. Away you go. But I'd seen these and I could have really done with it when I was doing this sort of last minute theatre show that I did. Would have been handy. So yeah. So that's worth considering as well. And Ashdown do loads of little combos, micro things as well. But like I say, this isn't particularly expensive, so and you could actually use it at rehearsal. Use that as your amp and take the line out to the speaker. All sorts of possibilities, George. So just put that. That's my little podium for that moment. You see. There we go. Oh, you can see mess. I don't want you seeing mess. There we go. It's better. So yeah, there we are. But I think if you go on any of the bass retailers, and you'll find all sorts of options. And like I say, technology is such now that these things keep coming out like month by month by month. There's so much small practice stuff. You should be fine. Gareth Harrison, your home rig is an Elf with a TC28. There you go. Possibilities. Scott M, try a Bose S1 Pro Plus loudspeaker with the wireless editions. They don't put out a ton of boomy bass, so they're good for natural tone in an apartment. Doesn't anger the neighbors. Very good. George Iliadis, thank you. All that's great. That's what we're here for. You know where to come to, George. We're tapping into people all over the world here. So, you know, some people will get to see gear that we don't necessarily get to see quickly. So a lot of the people in America will see stuff that we don't necessarily get as soon as it comes out. So, yeah, there's always options, but there's always new stuff coming out, you know. But your budget will kind of dictate what you're going to go for, I think. So, cheaper options are there. It's as much as you want to spend, you know. And while I'm nattering away, just obviously want to send out my thoughts, and it's not even best wishes, is it, for tomorrow, to those of you who are stateside. I'm very aware of what tomorrow is, and yeah, thoughts are with you. I had two friends that got out of it, and I had one friend who I thought was in it, and hadn't been able to get hold of him for about 3 weeks prior to that date. And when I saw those towers come down, I thought he was on floor 104 for HSBC. Thankfully, he wasn't. But he had flown out of New York the night before to Hong Kong. Had he been in New York, he would have been in the towers. So, and he wouldn't have got out. So he was in the North Tower. So yeah, for those of you stateside, it's not condolences. It's 23 years on, but anyway, thoughts are with you tomorrow. Yeah. The day the world changed. Anyway, don't want to get too somber. But anyway, showing my respect. So what's everyone been buying? Anyone bought anything new? New purchases? What people seen any good bands? Anyone been to any gigs lately? We've got imminent Toto gigs going on sale this week. At the moment, I'm keeping my powder very dry. Normally I jump at the chance to see Toto live, but I did see them twice, 2018 and 2019. And there was obviously a serious undercurrent in the band in 2019. And it showed on the gig. But anyway, Christopher Cross is supporting them here in the UK and through the European shows, I think. But I'm waiting to see what the ticket price is, because the gig I saw in 2019 was expensive. It was good, but it was expensive. And I suspect with the way gig ticket prices are, and the fact it's Christopher Cross on with Toto, I want to see what the price is before I start shelling out. So I may go, I may not, but the gig's in February. And that's also a concern for me, because I've seen Toto 4 or 5 times, and twice Steve Lukather's had a bad cold and flu, and this European tour is through February and March, which is when all the bugs are out. So I don't want to see him with a cold. I've seen that twice. He doesn't sing much, and his playing is great, but he's lackluster when he's, as we all are, when we've got a cold or flu. So I'm waiting to see what the prices are first before I commit to it. Scott M, have you seen the new Limited Player Plus Blue D Tiger jazz bass from Fender? Yeah, I'd seen stuff online, and I saw someone posting about it on, I think it was Instagram earlier. I don't like the color of those cream pickups. If they were white pickups, that would work with that plate. And I love the blue finish, but it looks like the pickups are cream colored. And I know it's a signature model, but cream, nah. White, yeah, but not cream. Scott, I think it just came out today, but it's very interesting. Yeah, who is this player? Is she some player of note? I haven't done my research, sorry. It's a signature model. So Gareth Harrison got to hear about Herbie Flowers. Yes, very sad. He had a good innings. And he was always life and soul of the party, so I hear. I never met him, never interviewed him. I know people who have. But what a track record. What a legacy to leave, you know. And yeah, be sorely missed. Sorely missed. Hell of a discography. Yeah, who wouldn't want that, you know? And yeah, there actually been a lot of deaths. I think the original vocalist for Tower of Power died as well. Hubert Tubbs, I think his name was. I should know. I'm a big Tower of Power fan, but I just saw it in passing. Wasn't him? No. Come on. Rick Stevens, but that's old news. That's is it that? Yes, Hubert Tubbs. He passed away on it was Sunday or yesterday. We're venturing into another period like we had 10 years ago, where there was just lots of people passing away in music and other professions, of course, and the musicians we've grown up with, you know. Yeah, it's all going on. It's all going on. Very much so. So, if you've got anything you'd like to ask about bass guitars, bass amps, effects, all those things, here's the place to do it. Brooksy's Bass Corner, live chat 79. 79 live chats. Flies by. I tell you, they just fly by. I remember at the time when we were doing the first load, and it was like getting a 15 seemed like quite a milestone. Here we are, 79. And I think by the time we get to the last one before Christmas, that's going to be number, bear with me, 93. We'll be hitting 100 early in the new year, I think. But that's all very good. It's all good. It's growing. That's the main thing. So if anyone wants to join in live by video, you can. Email brooksysbasscorner@gmail.com. I'll send you an invite. You click on the invite, and then you come through live by video camera or whatever device you're coming through on, frankly. James Earl Jones too. Yes, exactly. Exactly. The voices of our youth, you know. What a legacy to leave. What a legacy to leave. You know, probably one of the most copied voices on AI ever, I would imagine. And if it's not yet, it will be. I suspect over time. I'll apologize to anyone that might have received spam messages on Facebook lately. Um, Someone managed to get into my account yesterday, and it's this t-shirt spamming thing where they go on your old posts, and anyone that liked the post or commented gets tagged, and people trying to sell t-shirts. It's not me. I haven't posted about merchandise t-shirts on Facebook for a good long while, but this is the third time this year my Facebook account has been hacked. It's starting to really get on my tits now. So if it carries on, I might have to take the Dave's World of Fun Stuff approach and just say I'm not going to bother with Facebook anymore. The only problem is, in order to have the Brooksy Space Corner Facebook page, I have to have my private account there as well. Now, I don't think they've managed to get into the Brooksy Space Corner page. Hopefully, they have never quite got that far. First time people got into it in March, they basically deleted about 1,200 of my friends. Great. And deleted loads of my posts, loads of my photos and friends. Second time was about 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago. And that was the t-shirt thing. And now they did it again yesterday. So I'm on hyper vigilant security with my my Facebook page at the moment. Getting into the habit of logging out when I'm not on it, not just leaving myself logged in permanently. So yeah, be vigilant out there, people. But Facebook, you need to tighten up your security measures. I've got everything. I've got two two uh, two-type verification and a really tricky password. I change my password like every couple of weeks, and yet these people still get in. I've got all sorts of malware and spyware detectors running now. Antivirus, of course, firewalls all over the shop, and yet they're still getting through. So we'll see. But Facebook, do more, please. This is why I'm now logging out every time and logging back in. And I have to have a verification code on my phone every time I log in now. It's the way it's got to be. It's a pain in the backside, but it's the way it's going to have to be. Kev, good to see you. Have I seen the YouTube Rick Beato interview with Tony Levin? Yeah, I really liked it. It was great. Very good. Gareth, he gave consent to Disney to use his voice AI for future Darth Vader. Why change a winning formula? I say, quite right. Quite right. It couldn't be anyone else's voice, could it? It has to be that. I actually saw a meme earlier on that said the ending to Rogue One is even better if AC/DC's Hell's Bells is playing when Vader's cutting down all those rebels, trying to get to the stolen Death Star plans. It was really good. Try and find it if you can. I think it was on, might have been on Facebook stories, but it was really good. In fact, let me see if I can find it. This, uh, uh, it was good. Oh, here we go. Here we go. It's on TikTok as well. Worth a watch. Just a bit of fun. See what you think of that. So if anyone wants to talk about topic of discussion for the evening. So I was going through how I learnt 44 songs for an 8-hour rehearsal that I did on Sunday. This is a new theatre show I'm doing with Uncle Funk's Decades of Dance. 44 songs. It was a lot. It was a lot. It was a brain drain. And actually, I thought I'd feel absolutely wiped out after the rehearsal, but I wasn't too bad. Kind of paced myself, lots of water, regular food. You could feel the energy levels going up and down throughout the day when you're really concentrating and trying to get everything right, because you're aware you're up against time. There's only so much time left before the first show. So yeah. There's the invite. If anyone wants to come on via video, I can send you an invite. You just need to email brooksy'sbasscorner@gmail.com. You see the ticker running along the bottom of the screen. If you email that address, I can send you an invite and come join me here on the live chat. We can talk bass, we can talk anything you want, really. Whatever works for you. So as I said earlier, thank you to all the new subscribers, all the likes, the comments, the shares, all very much appreciated. It's all been good past week. We did have a subscriber surge day on Saturday, I think. And yeah, we had it's just all of a sudden lots of subscribers within like about a couple of hours. I thought, I don't know what's driving it, but I'm very grateful. So thank you. If you're one of the new subscribers, thank you very much. You're very welcome here. It's good to have you along. Gareth, the part where Tony Levin was talking about using a nappy as a mute cracked me up. I heard him say that before. I'd seen another interview where he'd mentioned that. But here we are, we're talking mutes, aren't we? So whatever works, you know. I guess a nappy's going to have a different sound, a bit of foam or a bit of sponge or whatever. But this is the Groove Gear Fump. If you've ever used one, so it basically just slides over the strings. I'm not plugged into an amp, but I've got a bass. Strap there. So you'll hear acoustically that a very little note comes out. So it literally just slides over your strings like that. But you're not going to hear much, I promise. I'll try and do it near the mic. Hold on. That's actually more of a note than I normally get. I don't think things on. It's better. It's an A string. Can you hear that? That's the E. Sounds like the old strings on the Status Empathy. From the bass string experiment. Yeah. So there we are. It has its place. There's no sustain now, I'll tell you that. That's actually better than I normally get it, actually. So, but again, 4505, so I can dig in a bit. Got the old Stingray on, of course. This was great in the rehearsal on Sunday. Very good tracking on the octave and filter pedals. So I had this in the 5-string, the graphite neck. What was that? That's there. And I took a Marcus Miller Jazz as well. Not sure if these are what I'm going to use on the gigs yet. I don't know. Next 2 rehearsals will be the time to decide that. And also practicing here at home with the pedals, getting the synth, bass synths sounds sorted out. Hands are a little sore today. I've done a lot of playing in the past 7 days. Learning those songs was about 10 hours each day, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday just playing and playing and playing and playing and playing. So while I have time at the moment, because gigs will start happening over September and October, you want to do as much of this brain cramming as possible. Or I do. Garrett, have I ever played a Chapman stick? Scott, thank you. Bless you. Scott M just did a super chat donation, $20. Thank you, Scott. I really, really appreciate that. Thank you. Bless your cotton socks, my man. Absolutely fabulous. Thank you. Amazing. We love that. Thank you, Scott. Super chat payment. Thank you, sir. So I've mentioned this before. I'm going to mention it again, just so people know. This isn't bribing you into making super chat payments, but I've had an idea for about 2 or 3 years. So we have the Brooksy Space Corner merch and all that. About a year and a half ago, when I got all the merch set up, I wanted to do a custom run of about 100 t-shirts featuring the original Brooksy Space Corner logo with the multicolored headstocks and what have you. And I wanted those shirts for promotional purposes to give away to base stores and competitions and all of that. Anyway, I found a company to do it, and then it turned out that company were a bunch of shysters, and they basically take your money for the order and then never fulfill the order. So thankfully, I didn't pay out on it. Found another company. I'm going to get this done at some point. I'm going to have a box of 100 t-shirts here. Just one color, simple promotional thing. So everyone who's made a super chat payment or a super thanks payment over the life of the channel. So if you do super thanks, it will be on the videos. If it's super chat, it's obviously live chats. Everyone who's made a donation to the channel will be getting one of those t-shirts. So Scott M, you're probably due about 8 of those t-shirts. You'll get one, okay? And I will send it through. Just bear with me on it. It's one of those things that's on the list of things to do. I will get those t-shirts done, and at some point I'm going to ask you for your postal address so I can send you one. All right. So to all the people who have contributed with super chats, super thanks, all of those things, you'll be getting a free t-shirt in the post. Won't be one of these, but it will be. There'll be a limited run. You'll be quite privileged. No one will be able to buy these. They're going to be, if I'm at the base show, or like I say, a lot of the base retailers who I know here in the UK, I'll be going around giving them t-shirts and what have you. Because I'm not allowed to sell that design because the headstocks I don't own the copyright on, but I'm allowed to give them away for promotional purposes. So you find people doing super chats and super thanks, you will be getting a very limited one-off t-shirt at some point. I will let you know when I need your postal address, and then you can come on screen on the live chat by video and you can show us wearing your t-shirt. How about that? So thank you very much. All the channel updates, I don't think I've done any, to be honest. But thank you, Scott. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Good on you, sir. Well done. So Gareth, yes, have I ever played a Chapman stick? I haven't. I've had the opportunity to. There used to be various retailers in London, especially on Charing Cross Road, had them. I think the Base Centre had some occasionally, but I never had the wherewithal or the confidence to sit and dabble. I think it's one of those things that you kind of need to know what you're doing, or you're going to sound like a complete buffoon trying to work your way around it. And I was always quite in awe of Nick Beggs using one, and Tony Levin, of course. And I just thought it's the sort of thing you want to do a little bit of practice on at home before you played in public with one. Have you tried one, Gareth? You ever sort of taken the plunge? They're obviously a little less prevalent than they were, you know, during the late 80s and through the 90s. You saw them a lot more often. They've kind of become a bit, well, very, they were always very niche, but they've become sort of a bit forgotten, which is a shame. But if you don't know what we're talking about, check out Chapman Stick and check out so Nick Beggs after Kajagoogoo did a band called Ellis, Beggs and Howard in 19 John Cooper, good to see you. 1988 they did an album called Homelands. Really great band, really great band. There's a song on there which was like their main single called Big Bubbles No Troubles. Outstanding. And literally all of it, the bass part and some of the high parts with a phaser, I think, is Chapman Stick. So do yourself a favor, go and check out that video. It's amazing. The song's amazing, but the whole album's fabulous. It took me a year. A friend of mine had a copy of the album, which I meant to buy in '88 when it came out, and I didn't buy it. I always thought, oh, I'll get it at a later date. It got deleted. It didn't. You couldn't buy it for, I think, after about 8 months, unless you found a copy. It wasn't in circulation. You couldn't just go and get it. And one of my friends at university had it, and he said, "Oh, you know, I'll give me a cassette. I'll do you a copy." And I wore that tape out over the space of 3 or 4 years. Never found another copy. Then found a brand new CD in a CD shop in Kingston, just as I was about to graduate from uni. And about 3 months later, I found an album, a vinyl copy as well. So I bought that. It was like £1. So it was a no-brainer. But it's a great album, Homelands. Ellis, Beggs and Howard. They did a second album that was never released, but Nick Beggs has got it. And I think you can buy copies through him, which I need to really kind of get my arse in gear and get a copy of that. But John Cooper, good evening, Brooksy and all. Sorry, late joining. No, it's okay. No problem. Thank you for that lovely review on the Uncle Funk Google page. Thank you. The reason I asked you to do that, John, was we need to get Uncle Funk up the SEO rankings, and the best way of doing it apparently is to get reviews of gigs into the Google reviews, I guess. And thank you for doing that. Very much appreciated. Stacy, same Gareth. It is sad news. I love me some Star Wars. You love yourself some Grogu. That's what. Yeah. So this is the first time I've picked this bass up since the rehearsal on Sunday. I knew the strings were on their way. I kind of battered them into submission after all of last week's practicing. There's not a lot. There's not a lot in there. They've been on since 2017. I know that much. So this is my Stingray, which has got an Aguilar replacement pickup. It's got the John East 3-band Music Man Stingray circuit in. John East's one. It's very good. It's got a push-pull treble boost, so it sounds like a Sabre. It's got the treble response of a Music Man Sabre. Treble and bass, a voice like the original 76 Stingray circuit, 2-band one. Then got a variable mid-range cut and boost. And there are jumpers on the circuit board in there even. And you can decide the shelving point of the mid frequencies. So obviously you've then got the variable, so you can choose between low mids or high mids. And I went for lows. And it works great. So yeah, Shaka Khan was a bit of a challenge. I mean, always loved the bass line on the I Feel For You. The problem I keep having is I keep hearing the Prince version in my head. And then when I come to play it, I've got to do the Shaka Khan one, which is a totally different kettle of fish. It's in the same key, but the keyboard bass part is mighty. Yeah, I can't make it. You're not going to hear it. You're just going to hear strings against frets. But take it from me, it's great. I discovered the lovely Hugh Foster, his YouTube channel. There was a video of him playing an Anaconda bass with with the Source Audio C4 synth patch, and he'd worked it all out and done it. It's a sweat. It's a roast, that song. Let's be fair. It's an absolute roast. But he did a great job. Hugh, if you're watching, I'm sure you're not. I did actually send you a friend request on Facebook, but I haven't heard anything back. I think you might be a suitable dep for me when I have Uncle Funk shows to dep out on occasion. So if you're watching this, I'm sure you're not. Get in touch. If I don't hear back from you, I'll send you a message on Messenger. But love your videos, love your chic stuff, loads of good groovy stuff on Hugh's Facebook YouTube channel. Sorry. Neoland, have you used the Spacebass? Yes, yeah, I have. So obviously you've missed out on some of the updates with that. So I don't think it's in here at the moment. No, it's in the lounge. Okay, update, Pete. I used it on about 6 gigs, and it sounds good, not great, but good. And the profile is lovely to play on the neck, but the problem is the shape and the balance issues, and they're serious balance issues. So I'd heard there were balance issues with the design, and the problem is there's no top horn. Basically, there's a star point there, and the balance point for the strap button is on the back. What it needs is like an extra chunk and that point to be there, not round here. So basically what happens is you put the bass on, and as soon as you take any supporting hand away, the thing literally just goes like that. And it doesn't work when I'm on a festival show and I've got to clap and get the audience doing stuff, and the bass is like sitting like that. It's not a good look. As soon as you take your hand away, it's gone and it's tipped. So I spent 15 quid on wheel balance weights, which come on a strip, to put them around the points on the lower sections of the body to try and give it a heftier weight differential, so it would maybe tip and stay like that. I added over 1 kilo in weight, and the thing still does the same thing, still goes like that. I don't know how to fix it. There was a guy selling one on Facebook, and he had repositioned the strap buttons, but it meant he had loads of horrible, unsightly screw holes where the strap buttons originally were. I don't want to do that to this bass. It's going to be hard enough to sell it when I stop using it anyway. I don't want to deface it, but there's no other way without rerouting those buttons that I can see this can work. The only other thing would be to put another strap button, but then I risk getting sort of pierced by it, the ones that aren't being used. I might have to go down that route. I don't know. I'm not happy about it because at the moment I can't really use it. My original plan was to use it for when we do festival shows in daylight. Because no point having the GBs because the LEDs are going to be unseeable. You won't see them in the daylight. So the idea was to use the Bootsy bass either on festivals or for the first set of Disco Inferno theatre shows. Now, okay, I've only got to do 45 minutes to an hour, and I can probably get by. But what is annoying is the fact that that whole section of my hand is basically tied up with supporting the edge of the neck, and it actually starts to get sore. And you can't. My demonstration piece for this is every time I play Boogie Nights, which is you have a slide there. When you're playing the Bootsy bass, you have to actually slide your whole hand with the neck resting against the folds of your fingers, it's bloody painful. It's sore and it's really hard. You can't do that slide smoothly. It should be simple. That's free and easy to do. On that bass, it's not. It's a real pain. It's just it's like you're grinding your hand against the wood. It's annoying. I don't know how it got past Warwick quality control, frankly. I don't know how they thought that was acceptable. The full-on Bootsy bass with all the LEDs and stuff and all of that, they've put the buttons in a different place, so it sits perfectly. Now, okay, there's a lot of other stuff going on in that bass. There's multiple pickups, circuits, LEDs, layers of wood and timber and circuitry. This one is obviously a more simpler design. But I don't know how they thought that was acceptable to put that bass out. Someone clearly just thought, oh, it's all right, we'll just sign it off, doesn't matter. But you can't put a bass out that as soon as you take the hand away, this thing's up. It's like a repeat of a Stanley Clarke Alembic. Exactly the same situation. You take your hand away, bang, the thing's gone. And that thing's dangerous because it's pointed. And I swear once it went up and I thought I was going to get my armpit pierced. It was a little scary on that front. So that's the update on the Bootsy bass. It will come back out. I've got to find a way to make it work. I just don't know what it is. And I went to the gallery and they said, it's like you need like a super long screw to bring the strap button out. And then that's your anchor point. I said, that's probably going to work. I spent over 60 quid on a very, very thick Gruv gear strap, which is over there, 4 inches wide. And it doesn't work because it's too slippery. And again, the bass just flips, just goes. I don't know what the solution is. Stacey, yes, I do for sure. Grogu rules. You know that's the truth. Right, Gareth Harrison, I'm just in the process of learning Like a Prayer, Madonna. Excellent. That is a monster of a bass line. Absolutely. If you want a challenge, Gareth, then please, by all means, have a look at I Feel For You by Shaka Khan, and I want you to play the full synth bass part. That's a monster line. Have a crack. So on Sunday when I was at rehearsal, I had my bass synth pedals with me, but I hadn't programmed up all the sound. So I was using an octave pedal to kind of offer some of that sort of synthiness. Worked great, actually. Anyone out there, if you have a bass synth pedal, but you haven't got time to program it up, use an octave pedal. I was using the EBS Octabass, which has got a selector switch that allows you to go for low frequencies, mid or high. And I was using it. I tried actually mid and high. The low was too low. Mids were good. High was good. I actually would have liked a combination of the pair, but it was fine. Good, a good substitute. John Cooper, speaking of strap buttons, had my first gig with my Status. I know you did. Yes. And I strap it using the lower button. Yep, always have done on a Status. It balances better for me. Right of the bridge tuners, as you look at it, I feel the bass sits better. How do you wear yours? Exactly that. Exactly that. The time to use the upper button is when you want it hanging at more of an angle. But if empathies are funny, they feel very different. So I used to have a Stingray. I've Mark King's old Stingray before I had my empathy. And the Stingray always just sat perfectly. And thumb, pick up, 2 screws, you go for that gap, and there's your thumb rest. Yeah. So for years, I got used to that. I got used to that playing position and how it sat. When I went to the empathy, you suddenly find your right hand goes across and it's not quite as supple a playing experience as a Stingray. It took a little while to get used to it, but over time, just sit and just keep playing it. It will feel natural. But I always went for the lower strap button. It just made the bass sit. I didn't want it totally horizontal, but I didn't want it like that. So it kind of sits sort of somewhere in between. It's always worked for me. And also having the 2 buttons is lovely if you just want to prop it up, you know. Neoland, that's very sad news. A Steinberger pivot plate has found the old L2 and XL2 would possibly solve the problem, but you can't buy them. No, and I would have to drill holes in the back of the base to accommodate it. Again, I'm aware of the resale problems. That base doesn't lend itself to a quick and easy sale, as the guy on Facebook found out because he had to keep lowering the price and he was trying to shift it for about 18 months. So, yeah. Mine is kind of immaculate. The only thing is now it's got some sellotape residue on it where the I did a test run with the weights, but they're gonna be gaffer taped on if I'm gonna use them. So I've always got a jar of stuff. It's called sticky stuff. Put some on a cloth and you wipe it over glue and adhesive residue, and it takes it away. So we'll see. If I have any updates, Pete, I'll let you know. It's a shame. The bass looks the business, but if I can't play it and it's compromising my ability to play properly, it doesn't matter how good it looks. It's got to work, you know. That's my take on that. So here we are. It's just gone 10 o'clock here in London. Live chat 79 here on Brooksy's Bass Corner. I see there's a lot of spam flying into my email tonight. So since we went live at 8 o'clock, I've had 59 pieces of spam email. What's going on? There's something going on. Oh, and here's a nice little heads up for anyone that's thinking of going into YouTube or what have you. So as many of you know, I used to write for the magazines and stuff and do reviews and demos, and I do a lot of that here on the channel. I had a Chinese / Hong Kong effect pedal company contact me to do a collaboration. They basically wanted me to review one of their pedals, do demo video and a review and stuff. But they didn't want to pay for it. And obviously, if they were paying for it, then it would become advertorial, which would mean they could dictate the tone of the review. I don't charge people to do reviews here on my channel, but if you're not going to pay me for it to be advertorial and I'm not getting payment, then my payment is I produce the video for my channel and you want to use it on your platform, your channel, then you share the video. So I benefit from the views and the advertising revenue. So I get an email saying, we can't afford to pay for this. I said, well, that's fine. I said, reviews are free. I said, but they're on, basically, you give me a pedal that allows me to create the content that goes on my channel. That's my payment as far as I'm concerned. However, in doing so, you're giving it to me for a review. You have no say whether it's a positive or a negative review. And that's the way it should be. If you put an item up for review, if it's bad and a reviewer says it's bad, then it got what it deserves. And if it's good and someone says it's good, then again, it gets what it deserves. No, they actually wanted me to give it a positive review. They didn't want to pay for it and they wanted to own the copyright on the video. So basically, they wanted me to produce a video for them with absolutely no benefit for me whatsoever. I wasn't even allowed to keep the pedal afterwards. It was like, right, so why am I going to produce this video? Well, because, you know, it's a collaboration. It's like, yeah, but you're getting everything out of it and I'm getting nothing out of it. They said, well, we need to be able to put the video on our Amazon account. I said, well, you can share the link then. I said, but you don't own the video. I said, if you want that, you need to get yourself a video creation company and pay them to do it. Well, we don't want to pay anyone to do it. I said, well, there's the problem. I said, so until you either want to pay me and it becomes advertorial, or you give me the benefit of sharing the video and I benefit from the links and the clicks. I said, there is no collaboration. That's not a collaboration. That's a one-sided, you get everything and I get nothing. So if you're thinking of coming into YouTube and doing collaborative videos on bass gear, be careful how you tread and dot your I's and cross your T's. Okay. I could see that one. It was going to go one of two ways. They were either going to go, yeah, absolutely no problem. Yeah, we'll just share the video. Or it was going to be, no, we want everything and you get nothing. And lo and behold, that's what happened. It's not a deal at all, Stacey. Quite right. It wasn't a deal at all. Well, it was a deal that benefited them completely and nothing for me. So needless to say, it's a shame because the pedal looked really good, but it won't be happening. So yeah, got to be on your toes. Got to be on your toes. Basically, they just wanted someone to create videos for them and not pay for it. That weren't happening on my watch. My time is precious enough. I haven't got time to be producing videos and then I don't get anything out of it. But I think also they wanted editorial control. They wanted it to be hyper positive and you couldn't say anything negative about it. I said, well, in order for that to happen, you need to pay me and it becomes an advertorial. So it's light on review and more heavily biased about demo and features. So basically you're reading a spec list and this is what it does. And there's no opinion in it. It's just factual. But there we go. There we go. It would have been very easy for me to go, oh yeah, I'll do a video and then do it, spend the time doing it, and then find I've got absolutely nothing out of the whole process. But hang on, I'm missing. Sorry, I'm going between two things there. Gareth Harrison, find a bit of neck dive on my Jack Cassidy, but a good strap resolved that. Yeah, people have told me I should get like a leather suede strap, and that might. Well, I'm vegetarian. I'm not buying anything leather or suede, so it's not happening. Did you sort out a gig bag for your Jack Cassidy, Gareth? Did you find anything suitable? Stacey, not an all-round deal, should have said. No, Neoland. Unfortunately, my channel is so small, nobody's finding me for any reviews. They are. I watch your reviews, Pete. I really enjoy your videos. Keep doing it. Keep doing it. You never know when a channel will take off. If it gives you any positive thoughts, I've got a load of videos on my channel that started out doing nothing, like dead ducks out of the cannon. And all of a sudden they've picked up. And I've got probably about 50 videos that are on an upward trajectory at the moment. If the channel clicks over into suddenly going ballistic, I think those videos are just going to rocket. So you never know when a video can take off. And if I go into the analytics for all those videos, they all started off flatlining, not doing very much. And then some of it could be because I changed the thumbnail. Some of it could be change the title. Some of it is just you never know when a video is going to take off, and all of a sudden it just goes boom. One of the Depp sax player in Uncle Funk, he's got a YouTube channel, all to do with sax playing and how to read music and all that. And he's had a whole bunch of videos that been on his channel for like 6-7 years, never did a thing. And all of a sudden, YouTube just promoted one or two of his videos and took off. And he says every day those videos are getting over 1,000 views each. He said there's nothing, they did nothing for ages, and he doesn't know what is causing it. He went into the analytics, it's just browse. Those videos are just being presented and people are clicking on them. So, Gareth, you've not found that gig bag yet, still looking. Is that a case of you haven't had a chance to go to a store and try the bass in one, or you're going to buy blind, which if for something like this, you really need to go to somewhere that's got the bag that you're thinking of buying and put the thing in it and check it. Otherwise, it's just going to be, you're going to be all around the houses trying to sort that. Or you'll be ordering stuff and sending it back, and you want as little grief as you can. If you got a branch of PMT near you, see what their stock of, or guitar, go and see what there's, or ring them up, say, how many different bass gig bags have you got? And take it from there. I did that with the Alembic when I was trying to find a lighter hard case, and then came across the Hiscox one for the larger basses. John Cooper, I'm curious, Mike, when you get dep gigs, how do you prep into John? If you tuned in from the start, I spent an hour discussing how I learned 44 songs for an 8-hour rehearsal last week. That's what today's live chat is, the topic of conversation. I'll give you a brief resume. Okay. This is exceptional, the amount of songs. Normally a set for a band will be about 35 songs. So if I've got time, or someone's asked me to dep and there's time, like a month or more, first thing first, get the tracks. If you can get live tracks off a band or MP3s, obviously, get them. So you know how the band plays them. It's all well and good learning the original versions, but sometimes bands will do modified versions, might have a different ending, different start. They might extend a bit or cut a bit out. If you've got the live versions from them, that's great. Then make another folder on your hard drive and save the original versions, or do a playlist, however you listen to music. Find the original versions. So you've got them and you've got the band's version. Then it's a case of put them on your phone, have them on your PC or your Mac, have them in the car. I always try, as soon as I know I'm going to be doing a dep, I will get the tracks on my phone, and I've got them when I'm walking the dog, which is usually downtime for me. I usually do phone calls and preparing tracks when I'm walking the dog. And get those songs in your head. I can't stress it enough. Lots of people will just sit and try and learn stuff, and then they wonder why they can't remember it. The way the subconscious works baffles experts, but I can tell you now, if you sit or you have the tracks playing when you're doing everyday stuff, when you then come to sit and actually properly learn it, you will already know the geography of that track. You know there's a chord change coming there, or there's a drum fill and you're going to follow that bit, or there might be a tricky bass part in there, and you'll know where those parts come. And you can't underestimate the value of knowing geography of songs on a gig that you may only do once. You might do it a few times, but if you're not a regular member of the band, you don't have that level of familiarity that comes with the repetition of gigging. So having those tracks, getting them in your head, that's all good. When it comes to sitting down and working it all out, as I said, what I did with this, and because this is quite exceptional compared to what I would normally do. So on this gig, I've got to use 4-string and 5-string basses. I could just use a 5, but I think sometimes some of the 4s, like this Stingray 4, sounds nothing like my Stingray 5. You know, loads of people bought a Stingray 5 because they wanted a 5-string version of their 4. Tones are totally different. And then I have a column here which says whether I'm using a bass synth pedal, or a drop pedal, or an octave pedal. I've got a couple of songs here where I've said cut the treble. Then there's notes on distortion and fuzz, and then I have a section where I write what the key of the song is, what the general chord progression is, and then any sort of fancy lines or fills that go by quite quick, and I'll note them down. So this was all just notes for me to quickly refer to on Sunday when we were in the heat of battle. And then there were certain songs in here that took a little more work. So in order to get the lines accurate, I pull the track into Audacity. I mean, you can use any DAW program or whatever you use to edit audio files and what have you. So I go into Audacity, pull the file in. I'll then slow down the tempo. So the pitch is the same, but the actual speed of the track is slower, usually 10%, 12%. And I will find those tricky bits, and I will just play it really, really slowly and just get the notes under your fingers. And eventually, just through repetition, playing the thing, suddenly what you're hearing and what you're playing sort of slots together, and then you can start building up the speed. So I had to learn, as I've said several times tonight, I Feel For You by Shaka Khan, which has got a heavy synth bass line. It took a lot of work, but basically I got about 95% of that line done in 90 minutes on Friday with all the little bits, and then it was just fine tuning some of the runs where I was hitting one note out, and they even then on Sunday, me and the sax player, because she'd scored it all out, we were having a discussion about some of the lines. Now our version of this includes the Andrew Goucher live band ending, which just goes off at a tangent mad, and we were still trying to get the exact notes on Sunday. So there's the part that goes. If you hear the live version, I know a lot of bands try and play this with that ending. It's full on. So you got horns doing it, keys, bass, guitar. They're all following this. So, and then the next bit is the yeah. You can't hear it. It's the strings are dead. At speed, and it goes by really quick. Let me see if I can find a link actually, because it's full on. It's a full on part. I promise you. No, not my thing. I want to go to. Here we go. Let me just find it. There's so many versions and different lineups of the band that do it. So let's see. And you can find any Andrew Goucher video. I mean, he just plays all over it, which is fine if that impresses you. It kind of, after about the 20th time of watching him do that, it kind of got on the wick a bit, to be fair. Is that, no, that's not the one. I think it's this. Let me just check this on earphones. I think it's this one. Yeah, it is. I'm not sure if Andrew Goucher is on that one. Right, let me share that. You'll love this. You're busy. So you want to get to let's see. There we go. Yes, Andrew Goucher. So you want to go to about 3 minutes 10. From San Juan Music is the channel. Ba, 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 ba. Ba, ba, da, ba, 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 ba. Enjoy. So on top of having a complete and utter bass synth roast for the bulk of the track, you've then got an absolute musicians what's the word, show off fest for the last sort of minute and a half of the song. But it took some time, but we got there. You know, I sat and I worked out. I put the time in on Wednesday to Saturday, and then, like I say, at rehearsals, it all went pretty good. So, John Cooper, when you get dep gigs, how do you prep in terms of learning the set? So, I've kind of explained what I do there. I cannot emphasize enough: practice, practice, practice. Keep practicing, keep running. Too many people take dep gigs and are so badly prepared when they come to do the gig, and it's just a blunderfest. You got to put in the effort, and some bands, you know, they might find a depth for a position, and then they just use that depth for the next 10 years or more. I've had that with a number of bands where I did one gig, might have been a last minute thing, or I might have been sort of had a month or so to prep. But it's just putting in the graft. And I've had like bands ask me to do important weddings or functions. I might only have like 2 or 3 days to do it. You've got to set aside a day to pull all that stuff together. A friend plays. Oh, sorry, I've missed out. Let me come back to your message. Do you sight read from an iPad? No, never. I don't sight read, and I despise. Okay, if people are in an orchestra or it's like a string recital or a horn recital, that's fine. That's what you're expecting. They're going to have sheet music and they're reading it, and that's it. There's no excitement. They're not running around the stage putting on a show. If I'm seeing an electric band, I don't want to see iPads unless it's for your mixer or it's got your set list. Any muso that stands there with a pad and they're just reading it, I personally wouldn't use those people if it's my band. I've had this discussion with many people. Some people think it's acceptable. Well, it never was acceptable before iPads came along. So it's become a lazy way out, and people think, well, I'm reading it off the pad. I'm playing the right notes, but it's so boring for the people watching the show. You're paid to entertain them. Entertain them. Don't sit there. I mean, in my last covers band that I did for a couple of years, we had a singer just before I left. She was too lazy to learn the words. She didn't want to learn the lyrics. And we were saying, look, we're doing 3-4 gigs a week. You've got to learn the songs. You've got to deliver the songs. You're performing the songs. She wouldn't do it. And she literally every gig, every gig, she'd be performing and her mic would be there and she'd have an iPad there. So no one in the audience could see her. She's just reading the words off the pad. And in the end, it was one of the reasons I left the band. I just said to the guy who had assumed band leader responsibilities, even though it was a democracy, he decided he was going to be the band leader. And I said, this has to change. This either changes by next week or... Anyway, he let her get away with it. And that's the way she always performed. She always had the pad. And it was... I'm out of here. Bye. And I hate it. I think iPads are the worst invention for musicians because it's just given everyone a security blanket that lets them get away with murder. I want to see people learn the stuff, put the hours in, deliver a performance. I don't want you reading stuff. It just drives me insane. And players that rely on it, I just don't use them. I don't. I had a situation when iPads first came out. So I used to book 24 bands into a chain of 11 venues. And some of those bands were using depths a lot. And what happened was there were a couple of venues, and I started to get messages from the managers of the venues going, why the band's got iPads in front of them? I said, well, they've probably got their set lists on. So rather than have a piece of paper on the floor that's then going to get drinks spilt on it and all that, they've probably got their set list. So I started to go down to a few of these venues on the nights when I wasn't playing. And I'd see what these bands were doing. And the manager was right. They had singers there with pads who were reading the lyrics, not singing the lyrics. They were reading the lyrics off a pad. And you had musicians in the band doing exactly the same thing, reading chord progressions, and it wasn't acceptable. And I had to say to the bands, if you carry on doing this, I'm not going to use you. So it's up to you. You can either have your 400 quid on a Thursday night or don't. But if you carry on using the pads, I'm not going to book you. And I think I got rid of about 4 bands who did this. So they said, well, look, how can we use depths otherwise? I said, well, pick depths who learn the stuff. Give them the tracks, tell them to learn it. They don't learn it, don't give them the gig. I mean, it's not hard, is it? And unfortunately, iPads just breed laziness. They really do. I've seen it so many times. I come across it all the time. Occasionally, I might do a gig where I need a cheat sheet. and I'll just discreetly, because I hate the fact that iPads turn off and all that. I'll just have, if there's a speaker next to me, I'll just have a piece of paper gaffed on the back of the speaker so no one sees it's there. And I could just quickly, because if it's a song like First Dance, I'm never going to play it again. Chances are I'm never going to play it again. And I don't want to put in immense amount of graph for one 3-minute song. So I might spend half an hour to an hour over a couple of days running this. And hopefully I don't need the cheat sheet. But if for any reason something happens on the gig and the brain just goes into fried mode because, you know, PA's blown up or the lights have gone wrong, I've got that sheet for familiarity purposes on my left and I can see it. So I'll do that. I don't have a problem with that. But it's people who are doing a whole show with an iPad and they're reading it. Not on an electric gig. I'm sorry. No, it's not acceptable. And this is the problem. iPads have become an accepted norm. It shouldn't be the case. You know, you wouldn't go to a Queen gig and watch the band reading off an iPad, would you? That's the level you ought to be aiming for. And I don't care if it's a pub band, you're playing down a sports club or whatever. I don't agree with it. Do you sight read from an iPad or on stage? No. Just learn everything in advance. Yep. You can't beat that. Now, I know some people who can't retain. Well, you got to train that to do it. You know, it doesn't just happen. Everyone's always looking for the shortcut. And sometimes, like on this show at the weekend, the rehearsal, you got to learn it. We've only got 6 weeks until the first night. It's got to go in there at some point. So you might as well just crack on and learn it. Now, if someone asked me to do that as a show tomorrow, I would need this sheet to my left. Now, I'm not going to sight read it but the chords are there and any little notes. And actually on Sunday, I used a piece of A3 paper to make notes as we were going through. People were going, right, we're going to take that ending off. We're going to reduce that bit. We're going to elongate that section. That fill is B flat, B, B flat, B, C sharp, E. So I was making all those notes as we were going. This week, probably tomorrow, actually, I've got to consolidate these sheets and that A3 sheet into one piece that I've got here while I'm practicing it for the next 3 weeks. So yeah, do you learn everything in advance? Yes. Rehearse with the band prior. With Uncle Funk, yes, but most times when I'm depping, mate, so my first dep gig was in 1996. I would say in 28 years of depping, I've maybe had 5 rehearsals before a dep gig across all the bands I've played with, sometimes even just for one gig. Now, as I'm getting older, I don't have to do gigs for monetary purposes. I don't have to work myself into the ground like I used to. So if someone's asking me to learn a lot of stuff, the money isn't great, and it's only going to be one gig, then I'd rather just not do it. There's no point. If the money's good and it balances out with the amount of work that's involved, then that's fair enough. But I'd prefer a dep gig if they say there's going to be 4 gigs over the space of 2 months, then that makes it worthwhile doing it. So yeah, generally you don't get a rehearsal with a band before a dep gig. Sometimes you do. That's a luxury. I have had deps who've worked for bands I've been in want to be paid for rehearsals. No, that's not an accept. That doesn't happen. The only time you get paid for rehearsal is if you're working for a signed original artist and the record company's paying. I've done a few of those where basically the MD will rehearse the hell out of the band, A, to make it sound good, but B, we all get more money. Gareth Harrison would prefer to go in store. There is PMT not too far away. Okay, right. That's regarding the gig bag. John Cooper, don't. I'll go back and watch. Okay, no worries. Are you expected to play note perfect to the original? A friend plays in a Steely Dan tribute band, and even solos have to be note for note. Yeah, if it's a tribute band, then yeah. My view is if you're doing a tribute, people are paying for tickets. They want to hear the songs how they know them. Covers stuff different, but if something is going out as a tribute, it should be as close to the original as it is. You know, I used to do a Green Day tribute, and one of the drummers wanted to play his version and interpretation of the songs, and I threw my toys out the pram. I went, play it properly or go, because I don't want to hear your interpretation of what you think it should be. The song is already written. They have done the orchestration, the arrangement. They've written the song. They've picked the key. That's the way it is. Play it. And any tribute band that I work in or that I play in or whatever, unless it's a niche band where they've taken a particular angle, like a reggae version of Led Zeppelin, that sort of thing, or they might take pop songs and play them in a rock thing. You know what I mean. You know what I'm getting at. But a standard tribute. So when I play ABBA, as far as I'm concerned, it's the same as the record. When I play Queen, it's exactly the same as the record or the live version, whichever we're copying. Covers band, different. But yeah, are you expected to play note perfect to the original? As far as I'm concerned, if you're copying something, it's there. If you've got an MD and he's got an arrangement, then that's something different. It was very well put to me the very first time I depped for Uncle Funk. They were telling me about the different bass steps they'd had, and it had never been a particularly great effort that people would put in. They thought it'd just turn up and blag a disco show. And I got told about, I think it was either a keyboard player or a horn player, and he'd basically done no prep, didn't care, blagged his way through it. And the band leader put it to the regular person on that instrument, you need to say this to your dep. Is he happy for a CD to be released of that show? And if they go, oh, well, no, not really. No, because they know they fucked up. It's like, right. Well, clearly you didn't practice and you didn't learn the show because there were too many mistakes and it was wrong, you know. And if you're going to dep a gig, and okay, pub bands may be different. You can get away with a bit of Blue Murder. Personally, I don't like that. But if you're doing a decent show or a corporate, or there's a certain level expected of you, you've got to hit that level. Thinking, oh, well, I'll just put in an hour one evening this week and it will be fine. It won't be fine. It won't be fine because anything can happen between then and the show. And your brain, I mean, I've had it on gigs and I've been super prepped. And so it's like someone's just pressed the reset button and I've gone, I don't know I don't know. How do I play the first song? And then suddenly my muscle memory will kick in and I'm away. I'm on autopilot because I've prepped it enough at home. And I couldn't tell you what the next note is, but my fingers are already going to it and I've already played it because I know what the muscle memory expects to feel and what that movement is. And that is, to me, that's like the magic of music. You know, if you prep something enough, it's like footballers. I remember Andy Cole, when he used to play for Man U, did an exercise where it was for him to trap a ball in the penalty box and hit the goal. And it was a certain leg movement about bringing the thigh up. And it was repetition of it. So when that ball came to him in the middle of a match, he didn't even have to think. He would just trap the ball and kick it. And it's exactly the same with any instrument. If you get the muscle memory right, things can happen. And even if the brain just goes, you can play on muscle memory to a certain point, and eventually at some point everything will suddenly, oh right, okay. I've had it on gigs where there was the bass might start a song and it's a certain passage, which was one of my earliest experiences of playing, where I was the drummer had started the song and I was meant to kick in. Life is what you make it. Talk. Now I couldn't get any of that because the drum was and I was like, so what is it? I'm in the middle of the gig going, I don't know what it is. Thankfully, the drummer went ba 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 ba, and I was in, and we were away. after that gig, I always made a mental note to myself: learn the feel of every song so you can sing it in your head. So if you're starting it, you're not waiting for anyone else's part in order to play your part. Know the feel. And I had that with lots of these songs, because lots of it is similar. And you get, like, I might get confused with Rhythm is a Dancer and Where Love Is by Alison Limerick. Not songs I would particularly listen to on a daily basis, I have to say. There's a few songs in here I've never bloody heard of, but they work in they might be club classics or whatever. And but by Sunday, I knew the feel of all of these. And actually, as we got towards the end, so we'd done probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'd done 38, 39 songs. My brain was starting to flag. A couple of these I'd done the prep. And it's just like, how does the Kylie one go? We're doing Padam Padam. I haven't really listened to it before I had to start prepping it, so I don't have the familiarity of the song. Lizzo as well. There was what's the big? I've just written Lizzo on my sheet. What's the song called? Bear with me a minute. You idiot. There we go. Hold on. Let me get into my folder. About Damn Time. That's the song. I've heard it loads when it was out as a hit and all of that, but I didn't know the bass until we did the rehearsal on Sunday. I've never played it. And again, like I say, you got 38, 39 songs in, and it's like brain switching off. But thankfully, I'd prepped it enough that I went on autopilot, and it played itself. Now, I don't know why that happened. I don't know. Maybe I'm conditioned to do it because after years and years of doing this, that's what happens. I don't know. Yeah. So, yes, John, my covers band are 90% accurate and our own take. That's the joy of covers bands. You can do your own slant. With tributes is a different thing, unless like I say, unless a tribute is a niche thing where they've done, it could be like a ska version of Queen, in which case all the songs are going to be played in a ska fashion. That, but that stuff in advance, that's what they're doing. But no, my view of a tribute certainly is it's either the recorded album version or it's their live version. So that's the way it has to be. And if you can't do it, you have to let people know. I mean, we've had people in the Queen tribute can't play the stuff properly. It's usually with drummers, deaf drummers, don't learn it properly. They just think, oh, Roger Taylor, it's easy. And actually, some of it isn't easy. But there we are. Anyway, Gareth Harrison, there's a Fender Aerodyne Jazz for sale near me on Facebook. I'm trying to talk myself out of buying it. Do you need it? Although that's not always the right question. I don't need all of these probably, but I have them. But how much are they asking? That should be the next question. Is it a bargain? John Cooper, iPad chord charts on stage. Couldn't agree more. Gareth Harrison, I use an iPad at open mics. That's different though, because you've got the flexibility of needing to have access to knowing loads of songs in one hit. I think I said last week, the week before, the most I've ever had to do in terms of holding tracks in my head was 126 songs for a Rocky Okie gig, and it was a one-off. The band used me again about 4 months later, so it wasn't wasted, but I had to relearn them for the second gig. But it holding 126 126 songs in my head. And actually, I think I ended up having like the list on 2 pieces of A4 with small chord progressions on there just as a reference point, and it was on wasn't a music stand. I think there might have been like a box to my left. It was on a festival gig. There might have been a flight case, and I put my leads box there and opened the lid and taped the song lists there. So as the songs were being picked by the band leader, people to come up and sing, I could just find where that song was. That's the progression, right? And off we went. So there was no iPad in front, and actually no one would have known that list was there, but it was just a reference point. So yeah, Garrett, I use an iPad at open mics just in case I'm not familiar with a song, can pull chords up to ad lib. That's fine. I have no problem with that because that's that situation. But in a controlled gig situation where a set list has been specified or it's a tribute show, you know what you're doing. There's no excuse, really, in my mind. I know some people get the real hump that I say that. I don't really care. And I played with a couple of function bands a couple of years ago where literally everyone in the band was reading off pads, and it was like, guys, it's a pardon my language, YouTube, but I'll say it, it's a shit look. Okay. I'll edit that out tomorrow when I'm going through the video. It's a shit look that everyone in the band's reading off a pad. Drummers reading off pads, looking to their left, not looking to where other people in the band, usually the bass player. I want eye contact. We're going for an ending. I want to see you, not you reading your part and you don't know what the rest of the band's doing. That drives me insane. Drummers, take note. It's not acceptable. Don't just sit there reading. While we're talking about this, people who write out parts and it's wrong, but they've convinced themselves it's right. That's a cardinal sin. You are reading a part that you allege is the correct part, but it's not correct. You're just reading what you've written down. That's not correct. Had it with a Queen drummer. He had he didn't learn the set. He was reading off notes he'd made. Again, laziness, not practicing. And okay, it's hard for drummers. You know, if you don't have an electronic kit, you're going to have to take yourself into a rehearsal room if you can't play at home. You've taken the gig. You've told us you can do it. So, and this guy just read his notes the whole night. He didn't look at anyone in the band. He missed probably about 10 of the endings. Didn't have a clue. He carried on playing through. We've stopped playing. The end of the song, he's still playing. I'm on one. I'm sorry. I'm on one. You've opened you've opened that can of worms. It just rubs me up the wrong way. It's like, you're gonna do this, do it properly. You're not gonna do it, go and get another job, please. Stacey, well, that's the thing, isn't it? Absorbing stuff takes time. Yeah, everyone's looking for the quick fix, and it's like you've actually got to do the work. You know, it's like trying to play bass without calluses. You got to build them up. They don't just appear overnight. You've got to build them up. Trying to truncate learning on anything is never a good plan. Comfort level is key. Exactly. Yeah, Stacey, about damn tight. That's the one. Sweet. Bill Clements on bass. Good to see you. Evening. Hope you're well. Hope everything's good. So yeah, so there we go. So no one has emailed to come in on the video chat tonight. I'm beginning to think people have an aversion to it. I'm paying for StreamYard, guys. Use the facility. That's what we're here for. Yeah. So yeah, so that's where we are on the old learning thing. But you know, after nearly 30 years of doing it, it just becomes kind of second nature, really. It's as I said earlier, I mean, the shortest notice I had was 90 minutes between sitting on the sofa watching the football and actually being on stage in London on a dep gig. Sometimes you get months of notice. Sometimes it might be the same week. You know, normally I'd say most often you get, or I get contacted on like a Sunday or a Monday after a band have done a gig on a Friday or Saturday. And then they're looking at the following week's gigs and either someone's fallen ill, hurt themselves, gone on holiday and not told the band they're not going to be on the gig. That happens. What's Bill saying? Will the stream work from my Android phone? Absolutely. Do you mean now or watching it after the event? All of the live chats built, you can watch at any point. They're all on the YouTube channel. Just go to the live playlist, live chat playlist. Everything's there. So this is live chat 79. You can watch all 79 of them if you want. They're all there. Scott M, I definitely want to call in, but I've been a little under the weather. That's all right, mate. Another time. Doctor's tomorrow, though. No problem. It's all good. It's all good. It's all good. I just hope I haven't freaked people out with the people, well, not the people that came on screen, but the live chat facility in the first couple of weeks. A lot of the technical gremlins, I think, have gone. So we don't have the microphone problems or the camera problems. A lot of that was to do with moving from Wi-Fi onto the fixed Ethernet line, which seems to have solved all of those. The only issue we have is conveying bass. So even if I plug into the audio interface, you get the choppiness. And if I play through an amp, you get it as well. It's the dynamics and the transients of playing a musical instrument. It's all that. And for some reason, the audio interface seems to really get a bee in its bonnet, conveying it to you on the video. The live chats have been a nice addition. Pleasure. It's what we're here for. I needed a break after Christmas. We've done quite a run of chats, so it was we needed a bit of recharge time. I didn't mean to be away as long as I was. It was just I was trying to decide whether I was going to go down the StreamYard route, and they got bought out and the company changed hands, and I wasn't sure if they were going to put the prices up or take facilities away or what have you. It was always my idea back at Christmas to get this up and running, where you guys can come in on the chat and get involved, and I can do the banners and like Scott's super chat payment, of course. And it was just how to do all of that. It just takes time because it's just me. I don't have a team around me doing this. It's just me. Bill, if I want to pop in, can I do it from phone? Yes, you can. Yeah, all you've got to do is send me an email. I'll send you the invite. You click on the invite. You'll then pop up on the screen here, and I just pull you in, and then you're here. So all you got to do is send an email. Mike, I've done that every week. My personal email. That's good, isn't it? Brooksy'sbasecorner@gmail.com. That's the way it works. So send an email to that. Brooksy'sbasecorner@gmail.com. I can then send you the invite, and away we go. That's how it works. It's coming up to 11 o'clock. There's the evening gone. It's flown by. Stacey, what time does the Trump-Harris debate start? I'm trying to think if I might stay out and watch it. And again, I'll say to you fine people across the pond, you have my thoughts tomorrow. I'm very well aware what tomorrow is, so not forgotten. Not here anyway. The new live chat format is the bomb. Thank you. Cheers, Stace. There will be developments. I want to do more of the sort of bringing stuff up on screen, like photos and videos and all of that. I need to have a day where I can do a live chat that doesn't go public, and I can start working things out. And also the fact that StreamYard is still changing various features at the moment. There's new additions happening sort of quite a lot with the company that's taken it over. They've started adding in lots of new features and stuff. So it's good. I think it's good. I think it's an improvement. It's certainly easier if someone wants to come on screen and show us a bass, or they've got a problem, or then we'll say, look, my bridge ain't working. How do I do this? They can come on the screen and show me. I can tell you, or how do I set a bass up, or how do I do the intonation? What do I do my pickup height? All of that. We can do it. That's the joy of the video thing. Can't remember what chat it was. There was someone asking a load of questions about something, and I remember thinking at the time, it'd be far better if we could just visualize this. And I thought, StreamYard. That's what we've got to do. That's why a lot of the big YouTube channels use it for their live chats. Okay, let's see. Just waiting for my inbox to update. Let's see. I'm keeping an eye on it. No, that's not you. I'm waiting for it to appear, Bill. No, not there yet. I'm checking my spam as well. It's not there. Email's taking a bit of time. Scott M, have you tried flats on that Music Man? I have in previously. Yeah, I just put some TI flats on mine and was blown away with the good tone. Yeah, different flats will sound different. They don't all sound the same, of course. I did try some flats on this once, but I do like my Stingray with round steels. But there is another Stingray in the house, which I might end up putting some flats on and just leaving it like that. So highly possible. I don't know what's happened, Bill. Check your outbox, see that the email's gone, because I've not got anything here. I'm checking my inbox and spam, and there's nothing there at the current time. Stacy, thank you. Solemn day that never loses its poignancy. Quite. Gareth Harrison watched a Scott's bass lesson video earlier where they hinted that Bernard Edwards played a P bass. He did. He played a P and a jazz and a Stingray. First album is a mixture of P and jazz. There's no Stingray on the first album. On Good Times. It could be. The only person who's going to know and tell you properly is Nile Rodgers. And funnily enough, when any bass player interviews him, they don't ask that question. It could be. It could be. John Cooper, thanks, Mike. Got to go, but I'll go back and watch the intro for tonight's topic. Pleasure. Sorry if I hit a nerve. Not at all, mate. Not at all. But I totally agree. You got to put the work in to free you up to perform. Exactly. Like I say, if it's an orchestral band or a recital or something, you expect it. But in an electric band that's playing songs from the last 60 years, learn the songs. You know, if Genesis can play Supper's Ready and play that properly, or you think of Rush doing all the stuff they do, you know, there's no excuse for using an iPad to play. Take your pick, you know, million songs out there. But yeah, no, you didn't hit a nerve at all. Anyone that ever does the iPad thing will get that response from me, because it was never a thing until iPads appeared. I cannot remember turning pro in 95 and up until iPads came out, which would have been what, 2009, 2010. No one ever had stuff in front of them reading it. Never. You might have a cheat sheet or a note or two on your set list, but not this, having a device right in front of you and reading the part. It's like, what's that? What's that? You don't have to be tied to the spot and reading your part all night. I don't get. I'm old school. I don't get it. I don't get it. John, I'm not seeing. Sorry, Bill, I'm not seeing your email here. It's not there. Checking my spam again. No, nothing there. And there's nothing in the inbox. It's not there. Let me check on my phone just in case it's my email software, but I don't think it is. And it is a Gmail email. No, mate. Not there, Bill. Yeah. It's not there. It's not there. Got a new subscriber while we've been on, boys and girls. Welcome. Gareth. What's that? Gareth Jones. Welcome. If you're watching, I can see he's just actually left me a message on one of the videos. I'm a bit late to the party. Got a B5 Element in black with a Mark bass preamp. Plays and sounds great after I set it up properly. Intonation on the G is challenging. It's a fantastic bass, plays beautifully. It's one of those rare bass which sounds good whatever the pickup blend EQ is set at, and the passive sounds have a nut. Oh, blimey. Big old message. Thank you very much for your message, Gareth. Much appreciated. Welcome to the channel. If I can help you in any way, let me know. Fill your boots. Enjoy the videos. Feel free to comment wherever you wish. All good. Don't know what's happened to your email, Bill. It ain't there. Let's have a look. Maybe you did it wrong. Well, it's the email that's on the ticker at the bottom of the screen. Brooksy's Bass Corner at gmail.com. Stacey, John Cooper. That's what we do on this live chat. Absolutely. Have the debates and discussion follows. Correct. Bill, do you have the StreamYard app downloaded? He needs that for his phone, does he, Stace? I haven't even sent him the invite yet because I haven't got his email. Okay, we're just coming up to 11. I'll tell you what we'll do, Bill. Let's prepare it for next week, shall we? Come on next week's one. Because I'm probably going to wind this down shortly because we've been going for 3 hours. I feel the old throat's getting a bit dry and husky. We'll do it next week. Let's see. Yeah, Stacey saying that. Right, okay. I'm up to date. Okie dokes. I'll give it another couple of minutes and yeah, we'll wind down for the evening. But we'll be back next Tuesday, 8 o'clock here in London. And we'll do it all again. I think I've already worked out next week's conversational topic, which is, as I go into my content and find next week's video, we are doing. So this is topic of discussion next week, next Wednesday, falling a bit, aren't I? Next Tuesday. Sorry, it's been a long week. We're going to talk about what effect pedal can you not live without. So some people don't use any effects. For years, I didn't. However, I have to say, in the past week, prepping all this stuff for the Decades Dance, and I've always got 2 octave pedals on my board. I don't think I can live without an octave pedal anymore. I use it so often, or I use them so often. I've had an octave pedal since 2001. I just get so much mileage out of them. I really do. and Sunday it allowed me to cover with some accuracy the sounds I was after without having to program up bass synth pedals, which I know are going to take me some time. I've got to sit and do those, and I will be doing them for the next rehearsal. But I can't live without an octave pedal, and actually I can't live without the Digitech drop. That has done every single gig, I think, since we came out of lockdown. And pound for pound, a great pedal. And I've had people messaging the channel regarding the straight out the box video going, I can't get my bass to work with that pedal. It's had to go back and it doesn't work and it doesn't this. It's to do with tracking. Some bass pickups, circuitry, preamp, the way you play, the strings. Tracking will be tricky. Bill, I can see you there. Your email's just coming. Tell you what, Bill, we'll do it next week. Okay. Yeah, I've got it. I got your email, but I'm going to wind this down because we're dropping in viewing numbers. So, Bill, come on next week's live chat and we'll do it. You've got it. You've got it now, the address. So next week, when you're ready to come on, email me and we'll bring you into the live chat. We'll do it next week, I promise. Yeah. And people saying they can't get the drop pedal to work for them. It does work. I've been using it since 2019. It works. Believe me, it works. So yeah. But for me, octave pedal, that tuner pedal. Sometimes I have a rack mounted tuner, but those are the three. I could probably do any gig if I've got those three. And then I've been a recent convert to the envelope filter thing. You know, I use my Aguilar filter twin all the time. But again, a lot of that is to do with the band I'm playing with. But I even use it in the Queen tribute. It's funny. I get soundmen go, why have you got an envelope filter? You're in a Queen tribute. It's like, wait and see, mate. Wait and see. So we get to Radio Gaga. There's a section in the middle where the bass drops out and you've got like a sequencer thing going, wow, 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 all of that. Well, I've found there's a little fill you can play. And I think Neil Fairclough does it as well. I need to check that with him. And basically, you put your envelope filter on and you can do a hammer on. And with the envelope filter, it sounds totally in place. It sounds like it should have been on the track originally. And it works great. So, yeah, next week's topic of discussion, the bass effect pedals you can't live without. That's what we're going to be talking about. So on that note, I'm going to, so Bill, we're going to pull you in on the live chat next week. Okay. So that's what we're going to do with that. Feel free to watch some of the other live chats if you want. You didn't add the caps. You shouldn't have to add any caps to that email address. Should all be lowercase. But it's okay. We'll pull you in on the live chat next week. Okay, that's what we'll do. So on that note, thank you very much, everyone, for getting involved tonight. Thanks to all the regulars who've got involved. All the comments, all the chat, fabulous. All the new subscribers, welcome. It's good to see you. All the likes, thumbs ups, shares, comments, wonderful. Can't ask for more. If you've just come onto the video, or you're watching it after the event, please give the video a thumbs up. If you're going to give it a thumbs down, then leave a comment. Let me know why you didn't like it. Feel free to share the videos out to email, websites, social media, all good. Description box got all the affiliate links, the merchandise links, all there. So you want one of the Brooksy's Bass Corner t-shirts, maybe like a nice one with a quote from Mark King or Nathan East or Lee Sklar or Chris Squire. So those are on there. Click on the links. They're in the description box. You find the affiliate links for the Bass Center here in the UK, vidIQ, StreamYard, Top Cashback, Amazon, Gear for Music, Andertons and Toman. Social media links are at the bottom description box. We're good to go. We'll try my utmost to get some content out this week. It's backlogging now and I need to clear the deck, so we'll do that. And what have I got this week? Our Trumpet player in Uncle Funk is getting married this week. We're playing at a wedding. It's a 3-day affair, so we're busy. Next week, Queen tribute gig. I think there's a rehearsal. No, not rehearsal for this. Rehearsal for something else. It's just busy. It is. It's getting that way, and we're getting near Christmas, so that's all going to kick in soon as well. So, on that note, thank you very much. It's been Live Chat 79 here on Brooksy's Bass Corner, coming to you all the way from London in the UK. I will see you next Tuesday, same time, same place, 8 o'clock UK time. Have a great week. Enjoy your bass playing. If you've got any problems or issues and you want to ask me a question or whatever, use the email address, brooksysbasscorner@gmail.com. Or you can get me on the social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter X, Be Real, Discord, Reddit, Quora, TikTok. Or you can leave comments on the videos. As soon as I see them, I'll reply back to you. On that note, have a great week. Enjoy your bass playing. I'll see you next Tuesday. Take it easy. Have a great week. All the best.